Mike? I think we're on. I think we're on the thing. And I cannot tell if anyone has
Okay.
showed up yet.
All right.
No, we'll just wait for them to come in. Okay, now I gotta tag everyone. Um, where are Twitter? Oh, and I need my music. You will not hear the music, I believe,
Oh, okay.
but I'm using pretzel rocks. Uh, I don't know if two people. It could be me and you that are in the thing. Uh-huh. I gotta
It'll
do.
be fun. We can play Flight Simulator. I love
Yeah,
it.
totally. No, I would do that. We
I
could
have
just.
some friends who will come.
Yeah. Okay, now I must tag 17 people. Um, all right, Jeremy Schlutter. Oh wait, my pretzel rocks music. Play in browser.
Awesome.
You got to be careful with the music. I don't know if you've done streaming or anything like that before.
No, I haven't.
Basically they'll burn you for copyright.
Oh yeah. I did a musicians in the law course, so
Oh,
I just learned about that.
so someone like you could burn me for copyright one of these
Yeah.
days.
Well, I won't. Don't worry.
Okay, cool.
Not today. What do we say to the law? Not today.
Yeah, damn right. Okay, now I'm tagging everybody. I turned on OrbNet. We got a couple people coming in. We got a couple people
Awesome.
in the chat. Um,
Hello, friends.
OrbNet, Koreshi. Man, people have these tags that are so complicated. It's like two underscores. I think underscores are just maybe one underscore in the middle is not so bad, but it's dangerous for getting people to know your thing.
Yeah. It's like nobody's gonna mentally retain underscores. I have to let
Yeah.
my cat out. Out of here, Kim.
Oh my God. Do you have a cat? Are we gonna see your cat?
Yes. I don't know. She doesn't like to be seen. She
Uh
is
huh.
like the night. Her name is Omen.
That's a great cat name. That's intense, actually.
And then my dog's name is Nemo because that's Omen backwards and also Latin for nobody. So it's like the most badass pet names you could possibly come up with, in my opinion.
Hold on a second. Your what's name is Nemo,
My dog.
and Nemo is Owen backwards. That's true.
Yes.
Um, okay, I think it's jokes time. We got.
Okay. All right.
Oh,
Let's
hello,
see.
hello, Miss Billy.
Who
Hello,
goes
Buffalo Jump.
jokes?
I
She's
know who
barking.
you are. I know who you are, Miss Billy. I'm not gonna say, but I know who you are. Hello, welcome. Auxiliary wits.
Oh, hi, Sarah. Oh gosh. You're getting to hear Nemo.
Everybody, give us just a moment to set up. We're managing dog. We're managing me tagging everybody.
Draco. She'll just have to be the star of the show. That way she'll be quiet.
Oh, that's your dog. I've seen that dog on your fleets.
Yes. Yep. She's already fleet famous.
Okay, nice. I just tagged everybody. Sweet. Oh god. All right, nice. Well, I'm set up. Sounds like Nemo's ready to go. But we didn't get any jokes.
No, okay, here, I have one.
Yes.
What's the best thing about Switzerland?
I don't know what.
I don't know, but the flag is a big plus.
Nice. That's pretty good.
I was pretty happy about it. I enjoyed that one.
Yeah. Give me one more.
Okay,
Wait. Miss Billy has one. Why is 6 afraid of 9?
Good.
So 6 afraid of 9.
That doesn't make sense. Why is 6 afraid of 9? Because 9, 8, 7, 6. Uh-oh.
9, 8, 7.
I don't entirely follow.
7's.
Sup, Sir Boglefury. Nice to see you.
Welcome to this podcast.
Oh, we gotta follow. It's ℙ𝕙𝕚𝕚𝕚𝕚. What's up, ℙ𝕙𝕚𝕚𝕚𝕚? Thank you for following. Thanks for coming by. All right. Well, that was a hell of a joke. With that, why don't we can do more jokes as we go, but we need to get up in the air.
Right. Yes, let's do it.
So maybe, if I may call you that, Ms. Gray.
Absolutely.
Where do you want to fly today? We didn't actually talk about this.
Where can we fly? Can we go to, like, I don't know, Dubai? Somewhere I haven't been.
Yeah, we could go literally anywhere in the world.
Okay.
As long as that place is represented on Bing Maps. The what?
Okay, let's see. I'm so excited. Yeah.
Dubai would be cool. We can also do a few places. Wait, you said it's a full moon?
It is a full moon tonight.
Full moon stream.
Yep.
Where's Dubai?
The energy's gonna be fun. The energy's gonna be weird. It's in I don't know.
UAE.
The other side of the world.
You know what? Let's do Dubai. That sounds cool.
I love it.
Let's do it. And then we can.
I don't even know where it is.
You what?
I don't even know where it is. I just know that they have like lots of cool buildings, and I wonder if they will have like a cool skyline or something when we land.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we could go to there. We could go to Dubai. Huh? No wait, don't quit the game.
Oh yeah, that was my thought.
The cold moon, Madagascar, Easter Islands. Got a variety of. So we have 20 people in the chat right now, maybe.
Hello. So nice to see you guys. Is it the cold moon? I imagine the moon must always be pretty cold, but I imagine that has some sort of mythic meaning to you.
Wait, that's 3 hours. I don't want to do a 3 hour long. I'm going to do...
Oh, goodness.
Hour 12.
It's nice to see you guys. Oh, hi, Zachary. Billy. Nice to see you.
And maybe...
I like just settling. Nice. Sorry, yes?
No, it's all good. We might have a little delay, but we'll make it work. Do you have a preference on the plane that we ride?
Oh, I like a shiny one. Oh, wait. Is this one small that we have represented right now on the screen? That one's cute. It looks like only the two of us could fit in it.
The blue one?
Yeah, a little one. A little one where it's like all nice and cozy.
A cozy little one. So maybe the blue one.
I like the blue one.
We're using the blue one.
Blue feels like stealthy to be up in the sky, and also the color of the sky.
Right. All right. Well, let's get rolling. Let's see the Kaaba. Fly to Mecca. Damn. Oh yeah. Wait, my controller. I gotta plug in. How's the audio, everybody? Can you hear both of us? Well. Perfect. Excellent. That's what I like to hear.
Thanks, ℙ𝕙𝕚𝕚𝕚𝕚. Yeah.
How was your day, maybe?
It was really nice. I had a really lovely day. We walked the dog. Me and my boyfriend listened to a nice like Ram Dass lecture, very zen, very lovely. Hanging out downstairs with the roommates, playing Liar's Dice. Do you know that game? It's like from the Pirates of the Caribbean movie.
Right. I think it's probably yeah. I think I've played it before. What is it? You guess the number of dice.
Yeah, you all smash a cup full of dice on a table, and then you have to bet on how many of each number of dice are represented on the table. It's fun. I like when you pick a game out of like a piece of fiction or something like that. Or I guess maybe the game was already there. But either way, it's fun to hear of something in a game and then play it yourself.
By the way, we're in our plane now. We are loaded up, so we can also pick times of day. I have
Ooh.
We can kind of like do an early morning. Oh, look, the moon. The moon.
Oh, yes. We need the moon in honor of the full moon. That sounds lovely.
Let's do the moon. I'm going to do one thing just so it's not completely dark. I learned how to do this recently. I can change the gamma. I can change the gamma. So I'm going to change the gamma.
Our plane is so cute.
We'll talk about... wait, let me just set up this filter. We'll talk about Name of the Wind at some point. But...
Oh, good. Yes, I love that idea.
Oh, that's too much gamma. Too much gamma. Let's do like a 0.44. How's that look on screen? You can play Liar's Dice online. That's actually a cool idea.
Wow. Yeah, that is fun.
No, not 3.
Yeah, because it's just odds. It would be pretty easy to represent.
All right, I've screwed with the gamma. It should be a little more visible. All right, it is, what is it, 6 in the morning?
Sorry, I'm excited about the chat.
No.
Okay.
You're doing the right thing. You're doing the right thing. We're in our plane. I'm very bad at this game, just so you know. And it has been a recurring theme. What's up, Sadal Sood? It's been how do I get us going? Oh yeah, turn up the power. It's been a recurring theme that. God damn it! That I don't know how to run this. I don't know how to fly this goddamn plane. We'll be off the ground shortly. Cause what?
Okay. Is it because it's so tiny? Oh, look at how little it is inside. It's so great.
It's very small. Apply and save. Okay. All right, we got... Oh, no, we're moving. We're moving. Okay, we're moving. I just had to turn on the shit. Gotta be more. You guys think...
You guys, I have faith in Patrick Rothfuss. He will give us the 3rd book. We have to have positive vibes about this.
Yeah. All right, our plane is moving. The oh no, did you see? So,
welcome.
I'm all in favor of
podcast.
Welcome, Irresistica. Thank you for joining us. I'm all in favor of. All right, we're off the ground. We're moving. I'm gonna go towards the moon.
Yes.
I'm gonna go towards the moon.
Sorry, to the moon.
To this podcast.
I'm going into the moon. Welcome, First 28. So this is the thing with... Oh yeah, I gotta put away the wheels. Okay, we're going up. We're going up. I think we're like in Saudi Arabia right now.
Welcome to this podcast.
Welcome,
It feels
Hanjo.
nice and gray.
It feels like what?
Nice and gray. We're into the gray, just as we promised.
The sky looks kind of beautiful.
The sky does look kind of beautiful.
Our altitude is 90 feet, I think. Or maybe that's meters.
Hi, Vecnan.
Nice. Vecnan working on his podcast. That's what we like to see, sir. We were talking about the Patrick Rothfuss. So people get so upset at that guy for like not having the book out. And he gets really defensive about it. And I occasionally have this thought where I'm like, I could fix this. Like, I feel like I could fix it. Like, I feel like I could, like, if I had the time, you know, like, if I had the, you know, the space to do it, just to sit down and, like, talk to him about, like, How are you feeling about it? What's the pressure like? I'm sure he has people doing that, but I think I could do it. I don't know. That's my thought
Yeah.
about that.
Just needs to be charmed a little, is your thought.
I mean, a little charmed, a little healed, you know.
Yeah.
I think,
Don't we all?
yeah. He was on this show. There's this meme that people were making. He was on this show, like Finding the Mothman or something like that.
Mm.
But it's like, why were you
Oh,
on?
this is so great.
No, it is nice. No, we are not talking about 𝕬𝕗. We're talking about Patrick Rothfuss, author of The Name of the Wind and the sequel, Wise Man's Fear, which maybe you've been reading.
Yes, I have been reading The Wise Man's Fear, and it's fantastic. I have like stolen my Twitter handle from it and everything at this point.
I
I'm
did notice
obsessed.
that.
Hmm.
Is this your first read through?
Yes, yeah. I didn't know anything about it until I got the books that are out from my boyfriend for Christmas or something like that.
It's a good gift. So I read these books. I'm kind of OG on Patrick Rothfuss books because I finished the last Harry Potter book in high school when I was working in a fucking in a ice cream shop, and I got an email from Borders.com or Borders, yeah, Borders Books, which I think doesn't exist anymore, and they said, "Are you done with Harry Potter? Do you need a new book?" And I did need a new book, so I got that, but that was a while ago.
Yeah, I used to read a lot of fantasy books as a kid, and then when I got like, I don't know, maybe like closer to being 18, I sort of like aged out of that young adult fiction section. Right. It was like getting repetitive and formulaic and stuff, so I didn't really know where to go from there, and that's when like started university and my workload got bigger and stuff, so I just kind of like lost touch with fiction for quite a while. And it was like, it felt scary, like vulnerable to start reading fiction again, because it kind of felt like maybe something of my childhood, like having like stuffed animals or like playing Sims until 3 a.m. It was like a frivolous thing of my childhood that I was like, oh, am I allowed to still read fiction? But I read aloud to my boyfriend all the time, and it's like a bonding thing for us. And I find that like reading fiction really like shifts my perspective in a way that I like myself better after, kind of the way you feel better after you exercise or something like that. It's like it just changes the whole frame of mind.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think I relate to that. I read a lot of Lovecraft in the last few years, which is a whole other thing. But
yeah.
But it's kind of similar. I do, even though it's like spooky stuff. By the way, we're over the desert, it looks like. I think I'm going to try to increase the gamma once again. We're going to pump the gamma.
So vast. Oh, I like seeing the stars, too.
Let's do a 0.66. 0.76. Let's try that. Be a little brighter. People are talking about, oh yeah, Red Rising is good. Have you ever read Red Rising, maybe? By any chance?
No, I haven't heard of that.
Do like badass, do like space Romans sound cool to you?
Yes. It makes me think of Firefly.
Yeah. It does have a little bit of that. If you like space Romans, you got to check out Red Rising. It is like, it's sort of, it's like almost like pornographic in how cool it is. Which
that sounds great.
Which Name of the Wind is also kind of like that in a different way, in my opinion.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty. It's like it's so engaging. Everything that happens has so much, I don't know, emotional punch, and things are really woven nicely into each other. Like I remember Felurian's name from the Name of the Wind, even though she's not really in that book at all.
Right. Oh, is she in that book?
She's not in the first one. She's in the wise man's fear, but she's just like her name. Like they just refer to her in passing and say nothing about her in the first book.
Cool.
So when I saw her name in the second book, I'm like, oh yeah, like some sort of mythical thing. I don't know what this is.
Right. I don't know what this is, but I like it.
Yes.
All right. Having gotten a little bit of altitude, by the way, I'm going to start turning us towards our destination of Dubai. Because why don't we just fucking go to Dubai? And we had a choice. We got a choice about whether to go over land, over water. We got some desert vibes, even though the sun is just rising here. But I feel like we're gonna get some cool desert, sun coming up over the horizon soon enough.
Yeah, that's good vibes. That's like we're off on like a spiritual journey through the sky.
Yeah. Cool. At this point, maybe I'll turn off the HUD and hope we don't hit the ground. Sorry, camera off. F11, applying save. Excellent. All right, what's chat talking about? Red Rising is easy and very smoothly written. It's like Hunger Games if the Hunger Games was about 18 times better. I never read the Hunger Games.
You were unremarkable.
You didn't like
and
it.
that was like the first one. Yeah, it was like a trilogy, and like the first one was like okay, like it was like formulaic, but it was fine, and then it kind of descended into like things that made absolutely no sense to me, and were like antithetical to the whole spirit of the series. And I was like, how did this go so wrong? So strange.
But they're super. Are they popular, or did they just make a movie out of it? Like, they have to be popular.
I don't know. That's a good question. Yeah, I don't know actually if the books are popular or if people just enjoyed the movies, or I don't even. I'm not somebody who like finds out numbers or quantifies things. Like, other people are in charge of that in my life. Other people let me know what critics think and like what frequencies are. I'm just in my own little bubble most of the time.
I think it's a good way to be with literature, but I have to interrupt briefly because ℙ𝕙𝕚𝕚𝕚 just did some special thing using Twitch that I don't understand that caused a sound to happen that has never actually been played on stream, which is my hell yeah, that's what I'm talking about plus Tom Cruise sound. And I think it's like a donation. Is it a subscription? Oh shit, it's a tier 1 subscription. This is an inaugural event for my Twitch channel. So we were very happy about that. We were very happy about that. I just wanted to say something about that. Vectin, that is how I feel. That is how I feel, Vectin. The thing you said that I actually can't repeat here, that I do feel like that. I think I feel like that.
Everybody's
Congrats,
so
Vectin.
happy for you.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Okay, but maybe.
Hello.
Have you read The Last Unicorn?
Oh, I haven't read The Last Unicorn either.
Okay, let me just Google this while the plane flies itself to see who it's by.
Okay.
The Last Unicorn, they made a film about it in 1982, which I have not seen. The author is Peter S. Beagle, who Patrick Rothfuss says inspired him as a writer, and when you read it, you can definitely tell. So what I'm saying is a lot of what's good about like Name of the Wind, if you read The Last Unicorn is there. It just is like there's something very powerful, poetic, like a lot of the cool vibes that are there you can find in Peter S. Beagle. So that's my recommendation to you, and it's very short.
Okay. Good. Oh, that's interesting. Short is fun. I like when you can like, I don't know, like immerse yourself in it and then like come out the other end and be like, whoa, that changed me.
Yeah. That's my recommendation.
Awesome. I really appreciate like fiction recommendations because like I said, it's like I like fell out of touch with it when it wasn't like directly advertised in my face or something like that. Somehow like young adult like novels are so visible and it's hard to like know what's good in like, I don't know, adult genres or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, you have the Blu-ray of it, Sam. That's awesome.
Oh, Blu-ray of The Last Unicorn. It's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just keep our map up here.
I love this like dusty gray vibe that we've got.
There's a lot going on with it.
Yeah. It's like rich and complex.
So wait, we're doing this thing. We're doing this chat or whatever, but we actually haven't had like a conversation in real life before, except for our little setup.
No, not really.
So
yeah, no, and
yeah, so you're a visual artist.
yes, at times that's true.
Tell me more about that, if you will, because you're noticing the aesthetics all over the place, and it seems like that's something you're into.
Oh. Yeah, I never did a lot of like painting class or anything like that, but I have a couple of artists in my family, and it's always been something that I like didn't have to be told to do. It was something that I was drawn to doing. So I've always kind of sketched and painted and done whatever I could get my hands on, really. If I got the chance to sculpt something, I was into that. And I got to do a lot of artwork in my clowning training as well. It was like, it was treated as kind of like the more primary form of expression. And it was like a core part of our learning was to paint things and express things visually and not verbally. And I think that kind of put me back in touch with it. Digital painting is something that's so much more accessible to do when you're busy and you don't have time to like set up and take down all of this like actual stuff in the material world. And I got into doing these color studies, and that's what I've been working on lately is working from something real and just noticing the values in it and translating them into color. And keeping all of those different values distinct so that it has this sort of, I don't know, trippy posterized sort of feeling. But right. I think just like being friends with Visa on Twitter and stuff like that, it and finding it like piqued my curiosity to do things this way. It has kind of put me on the path of maybe like trying to do 100 different pieces in this particular style before I move on to something else. And it's fun to like go through little phases like that with art. Like have like, oh, this is my thing that I'm doing right now, but that doesn't mean I'm that kind of artist or something like that. Because 6 months from now, I'll be doing something completely different.
Okay, but you've been doing a bunch of digital art, and you're saying you're doing the color studies.
Yeah.
Texas Gunnar's loading up a bowl. That's the right vibe, man.
That is the right vibe.
The Philosophers on Twitch playing Flight Simulator endorses and follows all local and state laws and federal laws as well in every country that it may be broadcasted in. Including Saudi Arabia. You could talk to what's his face, to Harvey Krishna about the color thing.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea.
Because he and I kind of early on in our like hanging out on Twitter thing, we talked about just like palettes, and just like it. Like I feel like here, like our our skyline here, right? What do we got? This is one of those puzzles where you're like, I'm not like really a visual artist. I screw around. I do have fun with the Photoshop with, the show or whatever. But it's one of those things where
I was impressed with that.
Yeah, thank you. That's more just fun energy coming through rather than I don't know, artistic skill. But it's like, the thing I think is when I look at something like this, my first thought is it's purple, but then you actually look and you're like, no, this is something else. Like this is gray. I don't even know the names of the colors. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, absolutely.
That phenomenon.
Yeah, it's fun. Like when I look at it, I can pick out like the most saturated colors are the blue of the plane and like this orange strip where the sunlight is still kind of coming through. But then there's like cooler grays and warmer grays as well. So like it almost gets kind of greeny in some of the places.
Neon salmon.
Yeah,
the green.
Yeah.
Also behind us.
Most of the time.
Looks cool.
What's behind us?
It's kind of smokier.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Yeah, I like one thing that I do with the color studies is like disobey what the colors actually are, and still try to use the values as a guide, but like visualize the colors that I want to see and the way that I want them to play together. And that's something it's really fun, but it's really hard. It's one of the things that I've like started a lot of pieces and had them kind of go nowhere and just had to scale them back to the beginning and try again, which is like exciting. It's nice to be doing something that you like can't be successful every time you go for it. Like it's good to be in that zone where sometimes you make something that you're really proud of and other times you're like, what went wrong? I don't know what's going on with this piece.
Yeah. I feel like that about writing. I've been trying to do a little bit of sci-fi lately. By the way, we got a request to fly through a cloud, so we're going to fly through this.
Oh, okay.
Through this cotton candy desert cloud over here. It's not really look like the desert, actually.
Oh, it's so exciting. Yeah, no, we've definitely got some stuff going on underneath us at this point.
Yeah. Look at that pank. Holy shit.
Yeah, it's kind of scary. It's like, it looks fleshy. It looks pretty.
We're fleshy? Oh, God. Oh, yeah, Zach's talking about his Art Lounge group chat. Is that still going? I guess it is still going.
Mm-hmm.
We got some sun peeking through the clouds as well.
So fun. I like seeing people find a group chat. A group chat. Oh,
So-
yeah, the sun peeking through, it's really weird.
The sun is
A little
intense.
pinprick. Yeah.
I want to be... Oh, there we go. We can see it. I'm going to put us inside the cockpit for a second, and you can see it starts looking spooky. We're going to Dubai,
Oh, cool.
Sir Vogelfrey. Oh, yeah, we got some clouds coming in. We're going in. Oh, baby. Oh, we're not there yet. I keep thinking we're there yet, but we're going there.
Fun. Ooh, it feels cool.
Yeah.
A little claustrophobic. It like I like felt it in my chest.
Cool. Hold on, I'm gonna screenshot this. Once my damn mouse will get out of the way. There we go. We're deep in this cotton candy cloud. Who knows what direction we're facing? Oh man, there's like a warmer part.
Oh, it's so cool. We're in the gray. This is
We're in the
awesome.
gray. We made it. We're into the gray. Feels freeing and
Exactly.
warm.
Yeah, it feels kind of like, I don't know, maternal, like we're in the womb.
You know, I think you might be in that group chat. I'm in a group chat right now where we're getting some discussion of womb. And by the way,
yeah.
look at this. Holy crap.
Wow. Oh my gosh. So cool. Such a strange, like distorted sense of scale.
Yeah. Inside a Himalayan salt
Oh,
lamp.
wow.
That's totally right.
Love it.
Oh, yeah, someone asked about weather conditions. You can see that there's some frozen stuff on my window right now.
Oh.
This looks sick.
Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun to just take it in. It's like nice to have a little bit of just like chill, quiet, watching the scenery with everybody.
Womb discourse is popping. That sounds somehow biological.
Yeah, it's hysterical.
That was good. That was pretty
Boom,
good.
Joe. Thank you.
That's great. Womb discourse
Womb
is
discourse
crown.
crowning. That's gross.
It's just positively crowning into the discourse space.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Birth, huh? What a concept.
It's traumatic, inherently, for all of us.
Yeah. I
I
guess
imagine it's like the seed of the illusion of separation.
it's the what of the illusion of separation? What do you call it? We're separated?
It's
Wait.
like the
Just kidding. Um, sorry. Wait. Explain everything you just said.
like there's this way that we come into the world so literally tethered
Hmm.
to another person who loves us, and to come literally untethered from that gives us this sense that we are separate from love and wholeness. And I think that that's something that you carry with you the whole rest of your life.
That's interesting. I recently played this game called Death Stranding. I don't know if anybody in the chat has played this game, or if you played this game, maybe. But it has this whole theme of separation and stuff like that, and you carry around this little baby with you. It's actually I'm going down a bad path if I try to
Oh,
explain
yeah.
Death Stranding right now, but you might have seen some of the animations and shit.
Yeah.
But anyway, there's you carry this baby around, and basically you're connected to it through a tube, and the baby helps you detect these ghosts, right? And so you're
Oh,
like
yeah, yeah.
you're going through this landscape, and the baby's like chilling and sleeping, but it starts like rustling and like getting upset when you're near these ghosts. And anyway, I got a whole metaphorical interpretation, but there's a whole themes of like death and separation and like kind of like self care and stuff like that. Norman Reedus is in.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I like the trend of big actors being in the game. I like the walls between all the media collapsing and everybody like being a free agent.
Right, Keanu Reeves in Cyberpunk.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been just talking with somebody recently too about my thoughts about like the connection between death and fertility, and there is like a small death in being born, and maybe like a way that you're born when you die in some other way that we don't understand yet.
Whoa.
I'm not even like super high or anything. I
Right.
feel like as soon as I heard myself say it, it sounded like one of those, hits blunt kind of thoughts,
Right.
but full endorsement to it though.
Yeah. Yeah. Birth and death. I when I think about the birth thing, I think about Plato. Talks about. I think about like my thoughts that I have preloaded on this are about. Maybe this is like as a man, I guess. The birth that I can do is creative, right, of some type. And so he talks about how mankind wants to procreate in a beautiful medium, and that this is a driving force in life and things like that, and that it expands from literal procreation to both, like creating art, creating intellectual work, administering the state. But that's what I have in my head about birth, and I guess here I have a question for you.
Okay.
You just said, this is sort of a weird question. You just said a thing about like birth and death. What do you do with that thought? Does that make sense as a question?
I wonder if I like take refuge in it. Like that's the verb that comes up for me, is like seek refuge.
And what do you mean by that?
There's some sort of like serenity in the idea that there's something that links the points of highest contrast in being a human person. I think, like we were just talking a moment before about separation, and I think that there's like an anxiety and feeling like you are separate from the world, but there's also an anxiety and feeling like things in the world are separate from each other, like good and evil, or right and wrong, and to be able to see that these like seemingly diametric opposite things have some sort of internal link, some sort of internal coherence, is like grounding on like a spiritual level.
So it's kind of, you're trying to sort of paint a picture that makes sense, that takes everything into account.
Yeah, and I think there's like maybe a way that I'm fascinated by a poetry that I read in the world around me. Like when I talk about birth and death being connected, it feels like it has a meaning, and it's a meaning that I see repeated like a motif in so many different areas of life. And I take a lot of joy in studying that poetic side of the way that reality is organized. I think that I think a lot in the metaphors that it inspires in me, and I like communicating in those metaphors, but I don't get a chance to as often as I'd like.
Right. How could you do that more?
I don't know. I guess I could feel like less legible if I was okay with being. I really feel like I was on some sort of like crazy mission to be understood for most of my childhood. I like didn't feel like people were really seeing me, and I felt like they didn't believe that what I had to offer at that age could have some sort of merit or validity. And so I like worked on becoming like the most hyper articulate, precocious little girl, and being able to explain things so clearly and be so legible and so coherent to whoever I could be. And then I feel like that gives me this sense in which I feel stifled around maybe like the clownier part of myself who wants to be like totally inconsistent and and show all of that inconsistency in like full saturation, stark contrast. Like I want to be happy, and then I want to be sad, and I don't want to explain myself. I want to be both of those things 100%, and I want people to be on that roller coaster with me rather than trying to like be legible. I think if I gave myself more permission to be like that, I could like speak all of my weird hits blunt thoughts and like not mind that maybe that's not giving people what they want. I don't know. That's what comes to mind, I suppose.
That's interesting. I want you to make crazy art that represents that. That's the thought that comes to me. It's interesting because I do a little bit of writing. I mean, in some ways, this like Philosophers on Twitch thing, it's like, I'm not like always necessarily pouring my heart out or whatever, but it is a creative thing, right? I'm trying to make something, right, that's like lands or whatever. And I kind of talk about this with Rival Voices when he and I get a chance to chat, but there's just this like crazy tension between like realness and like what you think people actually want, but then also people do like the realness, but then sometimes they don't like the realness. That's kind of what comes to mind for me was what you're saying.
Yeah, it's true. And I can kind of see, I feel like maybe Rival said something about like just tweeting every disconnected thought and like not holding himself to any standards, just to like get himself to like a blank slate where he could actually say something that he thought if he wanted to, kind of thing. And I can see the virtue in that for sure. Like I feel like I definitely sometimes like trip ahead of myself to give myself permission to fall when I'm really trying at something. Like make a fool out of myself on purpose so that when I try for real and I fail, you might think I was just doing it to make you laugh like last time.
Right. Yeah, Yeah, that's interesting. When you well, I guess we're getting into this. You retweeted the thing the other day. You retweeted the like we're doing philosophers on Twitch thing the other day, and you were very complimentary. You were like,
Oh,
you're like, Kirsty's great. I don't remember exactly what he said. He said it was charming. I was like, oh yeah. And it was interesting because my impulse immediately was to show a flaw in the thing I was doing. I don't know how like much consciously like
yeah,
if
you
that.
did, and it was so funny.
So I don't, for anyone who does not follow every single one of my Twitter experiences, maybe retweeted me like saying, going to the show, we're doing this thing, and I immediately commented like I had spelled something wrong in like the promo images or whatever, and I thought about that later. I was like, why did I do that? Like, why did that like? And there's something about. By the way, we're breaking through the clouds here, and it's very beautiful. There's something about I like being able to publicly fuck up. It's something like that.
Right. Right. Yeah. How dare I compliment you and give everybody all these high expectations of you that you didn't ask for?
Yeah, you're drawing a target on me. That's how I feel. A little bit. A little bit.
Yeah.
But
That it is funny. There is like so many reasons not to be put on a pedestal. It's not a good thing to happen.
mm,
I think I like doing things like this too because it breaks through the parasocial nature of Twitter for us to like. Yeah, I mean, I guess there's like a parasocial aspect to it, obviously. But for you and I,
Right.
we were like actually having a conversation with each other. And now,
right.
when I see you on Twitter, I won't feel like I'm
Right.
lying quite as much when I'm like, "Oh, there's my friend Michael." You're
Yeah.
like, "Oh,
Yeah.
hello."
What up? I was on a show. You know.
Uh,
How's chat doing? What is chat up to? Chat, are you there?
You say you're great.
Chat. Yes, this is Chad.
Hi. Oh, hello, Chad.
Hey, Chad. Hi.
Oh.
Hi. I'm fucking.
It's very high.
In Pathos is
For
super
me.
weirded out that my name is Michael. That may or may not
His name's Michael. Sorry, spoiler.
is
I like that most of the people are high. That's adorable.
I mean, hey, here we are. 14,000 meters in the sky or something.
Oh, wow.
We're not low.
Oh, it's so pretty.
Yeah.
We're not low, that's for sure.
We're not low. We're not low. I interviewed Michael Kersey and Michael Ashcroft back to back, and I was like, well, welcome, Michael, again.
Oh, that's great. I am excited to hear what Michael Ashcroft had to say. And I
Yeah.
really enjoyed your episodes with Michael and with Harvey before, too. Those were both great. I loved live tweeting as if I was included. That made me really happy.
I had fun with that. I liked that you were doing that. I was like reloading the page. I'm like, post more comments.
Yeah, it was really fun. And I feel like it's fun to post like one side of a telephone conversation and then people will have to like be like, okay, what the hell are you talking about? I need to hear the other side of this conversation. And then they'll actually check out the podcast. That's my hope.
Right.
That's my viral marketing scheme.
Yeah. We all have these schemes, don't we?
Yes.
What's up, Holy Weather?
I'm willing.
You're willing to what?
Oh, yeah, I'm willing to be honest about all of my schemes. I think it's good, and then people can be my big, giant collective focus group and tell me whether or not I'm crazy.
Right, right. Yeah, come back whenever, Holy Weather. Beckin, Ashcroft is hot.
Yeah.
We cover a lot of
Yeah.
stuff. I'll message you when I drop it. Keto Flex.
I've been telling Michael Ashcroft that he was hot for so long when he was even just a little baby account. I mean, it's like so
Right.
fun to watch him grow up and become like the center of this Alexander Tech discourse and everything. I'm like, oh my guy.
Yeah. I like getting a
He's
little
out there living his
jealous.
best life.
I
Yeah?
I like getting a little jealous. I'm like, you fucking cocksucking something, but it's all good. But like people will just explode. I'm not remembering the count.
Yeah.
The person who's dating Führer King. Everybody changed their handle all the time. I don't remember it exactly. It's not coming to me. But when she joined, she had like 300 people, and I was at like 1,000. Then she exploded to like 1,900. I'm like, you fucking bitch. But
it is crazy. I remember like Power Bottom Dad coming out of nowhere, and just all of a sudden, like, wow, Power Bottom Dad hitting the scene. Everybody knows about it. And it's like, it's fun because it's always people I totally enjoy. But yeah, like why my tweets only get 10 likes, like who knows? That's a big mystery that I'm not here to solve. I'm just here to post more relentlessly forever, whether anybody is liking it or not.
Yeah. By the way, I just dove a little bit. I went under some clouds. I try to hit different altitudes.
Wow. I feel like strangely, like being like tilted down this way doesn't scare me as much as being tilted really like at a really steep angle upward. Like I'm afraid of driving up hills.
Right.
I don't like that feeling, that falling backward feeling. I'm not okay. It gives me the heebie-jeebies.
Immediately when you described it, I had to do it, but I'll cool it for now.
Yeah. It's okay. I would be scared if I was really in the plane, and then I would be mad.
Yeah. You'd be like, don't fucking do that. Look at this. There's some pretty cool graphics here. Like, if you look at the top of the plane on this net thing, like the sunlight, that's kind of good.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and there's the lens flare that we get sometimes is also very pretty.
Right.
It's nice. It's satisfying, just like the teeniest, tiniest bit of my wanderlust that has not been satisfied all year.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah. Faux show.
Yeah, I do feel like our corner of Twitter is like an oasis of pleasure in like a sea of hell.
Nice.
Like one of those underwater pools where it's all chill.
Have you ever been to one of those underwater pools?
No, but I would freaking love it. I would be so hype. Oh my gosh. I would be so excited. I love weird experiences.
I think I went to one in Israel. I might have been.
That is so cool.
Yeah, it was cool.
Were you scared a little bit? Was it like a little bit eerie?
Well, if we're thinking of the same thing, it was like caves, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a little spooky, but it was pretty low key. It was kind of resort-ish, so a little bit tamed, if that makes sense. It wasn't totally...
yeah, you weren't like out in the remote wilderness or anything.
Right. What I would love to do is, man, I'm diving into these clouds, but it just feels like, oh wait, I don't even know how high I am. Oh, I might be like right by the ground. Oh shit.
The chat can relate.
Yeah, chat. Yeah. There you go. I want to do something like that in like a cold place. I want to get like in a hot bath in a cold place, like a hot water, you know?
Yeah.
That's what I want to do.
It's like a fun contrast to feel.
Do you enjoy...
Yeah, I watch a lot of horror movies. Sorry.
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah. Do I enjoy cooking? Let's talk about cooking.
Yeah.
I'm a vegetarian, so I don't cook any meat or anything like that. But I like cooking. That's one of the times that me and my boyfriend will read to each other. So when the other one is cooking.
When you're cooking.
So it's always like a warm, fuzzy experience.
Right. That's nice. What do you cook?
Like, I mean, honestly, probably like bread and cheese in like 100 different iterations.
Nice. You make bread?
No, I don't make it. I just like make
Cook it.
pasta or quesadillas or like 100 other things that involve basically some form of bread thing, some form of cheese thing, and then a bunch of vegetables in a shape, and then that's what I'll eat.
Right. Sounds good. I just stuffed my face with
That
Chinese
is a
food.
bread. Bread is like an umbrella category.
She did call... Not only did she call pasta bread, she kind of said pasta, and I didn't call it out, but
Is that a weird thing to say?
as far as I know, it might be a very normal thing to say in Canada.
I guess so.
Yeah. You can tell me it's a normal thing to say in Canada. I'll just have to believe you because I don't fucking know.
Maybe. I've never noticed one way or the other, I don't think.
Right.
Canadian pasta. It would have like the Canadian back bacon in it or something. I don't know.
Right.
Now I'm afraid to say the word. I'm like, no, I don't want to say the word. I'm self-conscious now.
Nah, you're good. You're good. We got to embrace our regionalisms, is my opinion. I like them. I think they're great. I really enjoy like hearing them. You know.
Yeah, it's very endearing, and it does linger. Like I like when you actually have a voice conversation with somebody, and then you can see their feed, and it's like all in their voice in your head. And
Right.
It's like a new intimate experience.
I mean, I'm definitely gonna pop. I'm gonna pop into the Ashcroft podcast just to see exactly what type of British he is.
Oh, it's very dreamy.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Dreamy British. Like Harry Potter? Sorry. Sorry.
Yeah, he could have gone to Hogwarts for
Yeah.
sure. I definitely thought I was going to go to Hogwarts when
Yeah.
I was like, 10. And then I turned 11 and I was like, aw.
Yeah.
So disappointed.
Right. You learn about separation at a young age, you know?
I know.
Bunch of
It's
scams.
tragic.
Bunch of scammers. J.K. Rowling, no. Yeah, my sister, I shouldn't say this on stream, but I'm going to. My sister used to read, like, the first book, right? And then she'd read the second book. Like, let's say we were waiting for the fourth book to come out. She'd read, like, 1, 2, 3, and then she'd just go right back to 1. So she'd just do, like, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and then, like,
Oh.
4 would come out, and she'd do, like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And she would, at this point, I think probably has read the first book, like, 30-something times.
Wow. Yeah, that's her books.
Yeah.
Those are the books.
Yeah.
She does not need other books.
Those are the
That's it.
books. Yeah.
I felt like with Harry Potter, I got a little too old. Like when I first started reading them, I was right on the like age group that it was like directed to, and then I got a little bit older, and I felt like I was kind of sad because by the end I was like, oh, I'm kind of reading a kid's book, but I gotta finish the series. Like I can't read all of them except the last one or something just because I got old. That's sad.
Yeah.
But it wasn't hitting the same spot.
But now you would be coming back to them now if you had never read them. I feel
Yeah,
like.
that's true. Yeah, that's definitely true. Yeah, it's a good universe. I like being in a different little world.
By the way, speaking of little worlds, I feel like we've been flying across this water forever, and that land just gets further away. That's my opinion. I don't think it's true.
Yeah, it's bigger land than you thought.
It's huge.
It looks closer than it is.
It's huge. How are we going to get to Dubai? We might need to... We could just go for it across the water, but I also might be down to exit and re-enter in there. Maybe in a bit. Let's get to this land. Vecnin, you don't meditate. What are you talking about? I don't know if that's true.
You just assume.
Yeah.
I meditate sometimes, but I'm really bad at like forming habits of any kind. So I am very on again, off again about literally everything in my life.
Right.
Unless somebody's like holding me accountable outside of myself. I did a meditation course in school once though, and it was like lit.
Was it good? Because someone was
Yeah,
telling
it
you
was
to it.
so fun. Yeah, it was fun. My favorite was when we had to do walking meditation outside, and I got to look weird, and that's my favorite thing to do, is to look weird
Right.
and have other people doing weird shit. That's my favorite. And it was fun because everybody else was like, I couldn't meditate. I was nervous. We were being weird. And I was like, I was so zen. Being weird is my home. This was the best meditation of the whole course.
Vecnin, I think you don't meditate because you spend all your time making podcasts.
That's his form of meditation.
Yeah. No, I bet he's zen as fuck. Beckman seems like a pretty generally zen guy.
The deep voice gives the impression of wisdom, I believe.
Yeah. What was I going to say? It's interesting what you're saying about with sticking to habits. I've toyed with the model that the way that we should think about habits is in terms of oscillation. So imagine that you have a habit that's on again, off again. Then the task is to figure out like what's the period of the oscillation, and let it do that. Does that make sense?
Right. I know that you're just going to catch it when it comes back around.
I find that thinking of it that way, instead of making me be like, I should be doing this, it instead makes me be like, okay, is now the time where I'm going to be doing more of this, or is now the time where I'm going to like be doing less of this and expecting it to come back, you know? Yeah,
Right.
habits is surfing.
Habit surfing. Oh, I like that. That's fun.
Yeah.
It makes it sound like more playful. In clowning, we talk about creative rhythms too. Like when you're not in a place of seeking control, you can like sense a rhythm to whatever it is that you're doing, and so you can be asking the thing if it wants to be done, rather than trying to get yourself to want to do the thing. Like orient yourself in the frame where you're at the service of the art that is your life, and ask it what it needs.
I see why you were at the Johnstone event, the Keith Johnstone event.
Yes. Yeah.
Are you down to tell me some things about maybe what was it? Vecnan has asked the question I wanted to ask in a different way. What was the time you clowned on someone the hardest? While you answer that, I'm gonna pour myself a drink and let this plane.
Good.
This plane is not flying itself. Uh oh. All right, hold on.
No, it looks kind of scary. I was getting nervous. I was like, doesn't this seem right?
What's happening here? No. We're gonna get this right. We're just flying above actual desert right now.
What we're drinking, also. Oh yeah, we're gonna be drinking in the plane above the desert. That somehow feels like extra decadent.
Yeah, flying away with some jewels or something. 1960s vibe.
Okay, sorry, I got distracted. I'm supposed to answer a question.
Yeah.
I feel like I was trained as a clown where I'm like a very respectful clown, and I typically do not play with anybody who does not want to be played with. So I haven't like usually clowned on someone. I feel like I wouldn't use that kind of language for it. But what does
rule of clowning is you must never clown on someone. No,
yeah, exactly. That's bad clown. Bad. Very naughty. It feeds into the, oh, this looks delightful, whatever this is.
It's Lagavulin.
Fancy.
Lagavulin. Scotch. From Islay.
I clown on people outside of clown, but inside of clown, it's like a professional responsibility not to clown on anyone. But what does come to mind when you ask about like when I clowned on someone the hardest, what comes up for me is that my sister is like so afraid of clowns, like really, really scared, and has been since we were kids. And so when she found out that I was taking clown school, she was like, to hurt me, or like she didn't understand why I would do this terrible thing to her. But she did, to support me, come to our final workshop. And she took these amazing Snapchats of like her in abject terror watching me and my clown family doing our clown stuff. And she was like, I will die today. Like, just absolutely terrified. And so that was very fun. That was the only time someone was exposed to my clowning and had a really bad experience, though, as far as I know.
Okay, so we do need to get in this clowning thing. So I know a little bit about this because I know someone who did a bunch of like acting school. I'm assuming this is kind of the same tradition, but what is clowning? Like for people who are not of the initiated class of clown knowers. Like yourself and myself.
Yeah. Um, Sometimes I describe it as like as if method acting and improv acting like took ayahuasca together and had a baby or something. Like it's very it's acting, it's unscripted, but you're like really feeling the way that you're acting like you're feeling. You're coming from a part of yourself that you sort of hone in on through a bunch of ritual states, and that ends up being expressed as the part of your personality that comes out when you put, you know, a red nose on, or even just invoke that part of yourself. And I don't know about all of the different, like if they're all the same, but in my tradition they call it the Fool. Like the first tarot card, the 0 tarot card, is the Fool. It's like the part of your personality that's still very like innocent and childlike and unlimited, uninhibited. And it's really interesting to go to clown training because you don't actually do clowning for the bulk of it. Like it takes pretty much up until the last like 5 to 10% of the course just to get like prepped to put on a red nose. Like
Right.
it's very serious play in that sense. Like you really go through a lot of different initiations before you are born into your clown self.
Okay, we got a question about this in the chat from ℙ𝕙𝕚𝕚𝕚𝕦𝕝𝕝. Can you learn for home? Do you need the transmission or interaction with other people?
I don't know if there's any like online clowning courses. There's definitely some clowning materials that you would need in your actual physical space. And you probably would want to be learning something from somebody, but it is possible that this could be turned into some sort of a virtual experience. One thing that you can do it in person in a group with like theater room available to you. It
Right.
is like a more transformative experience, I would imagine. I felt like some of the most profound and like the moments that changed me the most in clown school were moments when I was like playing with other students, like, and I could like feel them like holding more space than I was taking up, if that makes sense. Like I was invited by other people to show more of myself and allow more of my energy out into the world and interact with them more and be in their space more than I was like used to giving myself permission to feel and like act out around other people. And so it's like I had done actually like lots of group therapy for social anxiety before and not found that it was like particularly life-changing. Like it gave me the skills that I needed to cope with like going to campus every day, which was what my life was at the time.
Right.
But it didn't like make me like profoundly change what the beliefs that fed into my anxieties about being around people or anything like that. But clown school and like doing these absolutely crazy, nonsensical, incoherent things in the spirit of play with other adults was like really challenging and educational in exactly the places that social anxiety kind of lived.
That's So it was basically like better therapy than therapy is what I'm hearing.
Yes. Yeah, which was actually, it was I had a little bit of improv experience. I like acting and playing just as a source of fun in my life, but I went to clown school because it was an alternative to mainstream therapy. That was my primary reason for going there.
Right. It's interesting how you described it. So you described it as something like you kind of let your drives out or something like that. You kind of like let your body do its thing. That's kind of how I understood that.
Yeah. It is very embodied and it is very uninhibited. There's like what you called the healthy editor who still cared about things like physical safety and consent and that kind of stuff. Even like culture in some of the different trances, you would still like care about getting laughed at as a character or something like that. But for the most part, you really were kind of like delving into your unconscious and allowing yourself through movement to express parts of yourself that you weren't familiar with at all.
Yeah, this is interesting. So I've done a little bit. Hello, Stephen Fan, by the way. Welcome. I've done a little bit of acting stuff, not real acting stuff, just like classes. I guess I don't know what I don't have the language here. What am I trying to say? I've done some stuff where it's like a little bit like ecstatic, kind of mystical, is how I think of it. Something like, like letting your body do weird shit is something I do a lot of. Trying to make noises, you know what I mean? Like let my body like make a weird ass sound. I do a lot of this stuff.
Right.
I had a year where I got like really into it. I would just do it like half an hour a day by myself and just see what the fuck happened. And what I'm curious about is how does that relate to the thing you're describing? To like, okay, the red nose, right? That's like, I feel like there's a step there. There's like a change there. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah. The red nose is like the smallest mask. The idea is that even if you were just completely in your civvies, your normal, what you would wear on a normal day, not to perform to anybody, no makeup, stuff like that, you should be able to put your nose on, and that should change your personality entirely, to bring out like this totally different side of you, and it should be the same and different in a way. Like every time you come back into clown, it's like, yes, here's my clown. I'm familiar with you, but at the same time, they are like able to embody your range of emotion and then a little bit more. It's like a part of yourself that's higher saturation, higher contrast, so it's a little bit more unpredictable too.
Have you heard of, I imagine you might have heard of this term. Have you heard of a tulpa before?
I've heard of a tulpa. Oh, I'm getting this.
You're getting what?
I got a kiss.
Oh.
Maybe you missed it.
Hey, boyfriend. Damn, that was was that a beard? That was
Here,
powerful.
I'm gonna do it again. There we go.
Welcome to the channel. The sick blanket too.
Yes, it's beautiful. I love that blanket.
The tulpa thing. It made me think of the tulpa thing.
Mm. Yeah, it is kind of like, I guess like tulpas don't like express themselves in your body, maybe, or at least I haven't really heard of that happening. Right. But it is very much like you begin to have a character that can think for itself, and you're surprised to hear what it has to say, as much as the people that you're performing to are.
Right. How's our connection? I got some scrambly sounds. You can still hear me, right?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Okay, cool. Okay, so like the one other person I know who's talked about clowning, they talk about like their clown in this way that you're kind of doing it.
Yes.
Like with a possessive. It's like I have one, or something like that. Are you down to tell us about your clown?
Not like yeah. My clown's name is Schmoop.
That's a cute clown name.
Yeah. And I guess like the most notable thing to me, like the thing that I think of first when people ask about what she's like, is that she's like so excited. Oh man, It's like the first feeling that comes over me as soon as I'm in my nose is like, it's like hype, and I'm like, oh my gosh, whoa, okay. I like have never quite prepared. It's like sitting on a roller coaster and hearing that like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and you're like, okay, whoa, okay, we're going somewhere else. This is not the normal me.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, it is really fun. I guess the other things I could say is that like in my style of clowning, we talk about the like, I guess like there's like one clown is like what you have, but generally we travel in pairs. The clown duo is like the thing that you see the most. And that's because typically one of you in your little clown relationship will be what we call a Joey, and the other one will be an Auguste. And it's like the one who's like got the leader energy and the one who's got the follower kind of energy who
Okay.
wants to like be submissive. Yeah, it's like the dom clown and the sub clown.
Did you say Joey and Auguste?
Yeah, Joey and Auguste.
What are those
So
words?
they're names of clowns.
Oh.
So there is a clown named Joey, and there is a clown called Auguste, and they're the famous clowns that are of these two kind of polarities.
Oh, cool.
And there's all sorts of associations. Like Joey's typically wear like black and white and red. Those are like the colors that are like really strong and like dominant. So those are the colors that they tend to wear. Whereas like, I don't know, something an Auguste would have is like if you see like just little dots under their eyes that make them look so innocent and open, that's like very Auguste energy. You see that around a lot.
Hold on, I want to try something. I want to window capture my internet. Here we go. Plane's flying itself. We're doing okay. And I want to Google these things. If I Google these things, will that work?
I think so.
What do I Google? Joey Clown?
Yeah, and like Auguste is like August, but with an E on the end.
All right, let's go. We are using Brave. Oh, God, these are just random people. Joey the Clown Lombardo. That's not it. Is this guy maybe relevant?
I don't know.
I mean, this clown. Joey. Okay, well, let's try August Clown. Auguste.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny.
I'm seeing a lot of clowns here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I'm on DuckDuckGo. Okay, so, but, okay, is there like a specific look, or does that make sense?
No, it's more of a polarity in terms of like behavior.
Oh, okay, so I was thinking it's like a...
Go along with it sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah, no. But they're really noticeable. Like, if you watch a clown duo, you know within, like, a minute who's the Joey and who's the Auguste, usually. They're very, like, clowns are just so hyper expressive. So you can tell who's leading and who's following really, really quickly.
Right.
I have more Auguste energy, for sure. I'm the kind of clown who's like very excited about what somebody else is doing and is like just like diving in to find a way to support whatever madness is going on.
All right, so we just got a link to clownopedia.fandom.com.
Oh, I didn't know there was a Clownopedia. This sounds fantastic.
I think it's fine for me to go to Clownopedia. How do I do this? Hold on, we got a whole Clownopedia. A type of clown that entertains audiences with exaggerated expressions, slapstick comedy, and pranks of all sorts. Mm-hmm. Oh man, there's whole stuff about what colors and stuff. But though I imagine this is done differently in different places or something.
Yeah, it's possible. I study like a Canadian method. I didn't study like Buffon or anything like that. We call it the pachinko method, and you go through like a series of masks that you sculpt yourself blindfolded in this particular crazy way, and it's very strange.
Yeah.
I'm so used to university. Usually, you take a course and they give you like a syllabus. You know what you're gonna do. It was like the first time in my adult life that I signed up for something, and I showed up every day having no idea what was going to happen to me for the next, like, 10, 12 hours.
That's cool, though. I could use some of that.
Yeah.
Hey, look,
It was very cool.
There's a whole evil clowns page, it looks like. Let's put that away and never think of it again.
I really like horror, too, so I'm fine with representing the dark side of clowning. But it isn't something that I would invoke at like a birthday party. That would be bad. I would not do that. I have acted in like a haunted house though, like been one of the actors who's all like scary and like
Oh, cool.
gets you, and that is so fun. It's
Yeah.
so fun to be a mean clown and want people to be scared, and it's like it's really fun to experiment with like having a light touch. Like some people are like much more afraid of subtlety than they
Uh-huh.
are of like big movements and loud noises and
Oh
threats.
god. Oh god.
Yeah.
I'm
And
already shitting
I
myself.
found that was very fun.
So I used to go to I've been to a couple like little haunted houses growing up and shit like that, and I would just like I would almost get violent. I really don't like that stuff, but I would almost get like physical because my response to threat is like I'm gonna punch somebody. It's like it was never a problem. I don't know. Do people ever get punched in haunted houses? I believe you.
Totally. I used to be my pinned tweet forever was a gif of me like shoving a guy away from me in a haunted house with my hands.
Uh-huh.
I did like feel like it was a very erotic moment, and I've been in love with him ever since.
Uh-huh.
Because he like just went like this. Like he was disgusted with me, and I was like,
Uh-huh.
"Oh, daddy, like take me home."
Man, that went somewhere. That went somewhere fast. Dude.
It's true. There's something about horror that's like got a lot of power in it and a lot of taboo in it. So those wires get crossed for me. It's like not a long jump.
Uh-huh. This is you know what that reminds me of? Um
But
I always think of this. It reminds me of well, so Vectin's talking about I was with my first GF and a guy almost came at her with a chainsaw in quotes and I almost pummeled him. Um the it reminds me of the scene in 22 Jump Street, I think. Where the like they're fighting, but then they keep like almost hooking up, but then they go back to like beating each other up and like throwing each other against mirrors and breaking shit. And she's like, "Are we like fighting? Are we like doing this?" Like, and they just it's like they can't decide. It's just is very hilarious. Um, that's what that made me think of.
it's funny, like even sometimes when I've been on like psychedelic trips, I
Right.
felt like there's like this way emotions are organized like neighborhoods, and there's some that are like closer together, and there's places that are like, the houses that don't really fall into one neighborhood or another. They're in a liminal space, and they've got the vibe of maybe two
Right.
or even three or four emotions going on all in one little intersection, and you're like, okay, whoa, I'm like, there's so much experience coming at me all at once in this area of my emotional being.
That's what we're here to talk about, the liminal spaces, you know? Um,
Yeah, exactly. The gray areas in your emotional landscape.
that's right.
Topography's to whack.
um, I got a request from Vectin to see this glass. This glass, um, maybe where'd my I can see it. Yeah, there it is. This glass is called like a Canada glass. There's something to do with Canada on this type of glass. That's all I can tell you. That is the depth. That is the extent of my wisdom. Similar to a Glencairn. Yeah, I got it because it wasn't a Glencairn. I wanted to get something different, but it's a little bit huge. What is it called? Canadian or just...
Yeah, I don't recognize anything Canadian about it, but I like it a lot. I feel like it appeals to me very much. So maybe it's part of our heritage, and that's why it's resonating with me so much.
Right. It's a deep sort of it's deep Canadian, like Canadian in like an old sense. It's a
The
tulip for
Hudson's
sure.
Bay Company probably made it or something.
Right. By the way, we've found ourselves over the ocean, and I kind of want to see actual Dubai. So should I pop out and get us to Dubai shortcut mode?
Sure. Yeah, let's cheat our way to Dubai.
Let's go. Main menu. Um, you ever play D&D?
I don't. I think I might have played like one time.
Yeah.
I haven't played, but I've played like other role playing games a little bit too. I think I would really like it. I think if I got into it, I would be like obsessed.
I think you should play some D&D. I think you would. I think you would be into it. All right, we got our route. Let's go.
This is exciting.
I've had some fun in doing it with like role playing games. You know,
Yeah.
coming up with characters. I had a period where I kept always wanting to play old dudes. I've played a bunch of old dudes
Yeah, that's fun.
yeah. Um, I had a character in a D&D game who was a fighter, and he was kind of like just super senile. Like, imagine the type of dude's got like 4 teeth. He's always drinking. He kind of smells like piss, but he's got like armor and can kick some major ass. Um, that was my character. It was very fun to play. Halfling
I
with
love
a riding
that.
dog.
I think but
You what?
before I went to clown school, all of my characters were like kind of close to what I'm not like in real life. I wanted to play, like little elf girl or something.
Right.
But I tend now to prefer characters that like kind of aren't categorizable, like as uncategorizable as possible, like some sort of strange half-blood
Right.
thing yeah, because then if you don't really have a concept for what I am, then I get to do whatever I want. I don't have to like fit into any sort of expectations.
Right.
I can just like act on whims and be eccentric, and I like that. I can kind of see how like being an old man gives you permission to be eccentric in its own sort of way too.
I think I just like being an old man because honestly, I probably like fear being old a little bit. Like I think
Oh, yeah.
I see some of that, and there's just something like, all right, fine. Now you're, fucking 72 and you got 4 teeth and you're drunk always. Now what? And there's something that feels good about that. By the way, we were taking off from Dubai International Airport. It is liberating.
Beautiful. It looks very cosmopolitan over here.
Yeah, we're gonna
There's
look
a lot
for
going
those.
on the skyline.
It'd be cool if we had someone like from Dubai in here who could tell us where the fuck to go. But
Yeah, that'd be funny.
oh, I see some really tall buildings over there. Let's go to those.
Yeah, see, that's pretty freaking lit.
Yeah, and we can choose a time of day, of course. Maybe.
What's the lawful good spectrum like? Because like, like chaotic and chaotic, lawful, good, and evil. Yeah, I guess I haven't really played a lot. Having like astrology in a D&D game would be pretty hilarious. We would need Saddlewood to help us out with that.
Right. I think Holy Weather knows some shit with the astrology. At least I think so.
I know like a little bit, but not a ton.
Right.
Enough that I get really excited about things like the full moon and Mercury retrograde.
Right. Holy Weather, yes, there are IRL man-made islands in Dubai. We can probably look for those. I bet they're in the water over there. But yeah, they're all different shapes and stuff, so we can check that out.
What are people's opinions about Pisces? That's it's always interesting to see the like shade that gets thrown at people of different astrological signs.
Mm-hmm. I feel like I don't get that as much in the social circles I'm usually in, but I don't totally believe it. Emotional, intuitive.
Yeah. You're supposed to be like psychic. I'm in Aquarius, so we're like pretty close. We're right there. We're like the neighbors. We're neighbor signs. I'm supposed to be like some sort of like social butterfly alien, which I figure I kind of live up to.
I can see that. Pisces are often seen
What's
as the
your
nice,
sign?
lovely ones who drift through life in a dream, like a dreamy mist. I am a
Yeah.
Sagittarius. I should have made you guess.
Oh yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all. Sagittarians are the philosophers of the zodiac for sure.
There you go. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Sagittarius is like a fire sign, right?
That's right.
By the way, I don't know if we... You gotta give me... I kind of like this cool blue. Let's try this cool blue for a little bit. Early morning. I always hear Sagittarius is like... Explains his saggy tits. Thanks, Vec. The Texas Gunner is a Leo.
Yeah, and he did it in all caps, so you know he's telling the truth.
I'm a Leo.
I'm excited that we're talking about astrology. This
Yeah.
is very relaxing and fun.
Sagittarius, peak flight sim
It
playing.
is the time most likely to play site. That is so funny. Like everything about, I didn't even think about it, but it's like this whole show screams Sagittarius. That's
Yeah.
so funny.
Well, because it's like what Sagittarius are always like traveling. By the way, we're by the, what is it? The Burj Dubai, I think. Burj Arab. They keep renaming it.
There's a lot of stuff going on down there.
Yeah, look at the water.
It does look also like neatly organized.
Yeah. Let's check out this. I'm going to check out some of the islands. We can come back here if we want. This music got a little goofy on my end. Sorry, let me... kind of clownish, if you ask me. What the fuck? But I clicked synthwave station. I don't know if that's the right... Chill? What's chill? Let's try chill. Kind of chill. I wish you could hear it, but we'll give it a shot.
I trust that it's very chill.
It's a little
You
too
can
chill.
feel relaxed just based off the collective intelligence.
I hate it. We're switching to chill EDM.
Okay.
All right. All right. Well, now we can actually turn the plane. Oh god, I just turned the plane upside down. That was not the plan, but it's kind of working out. It's kind of working out. That was sick. That was actually sick.
We doing tricks.
Yeah.
I think that people like are scared of magical thinking because they think that it like exists on its own, like that it predates science and is not influenced by science or rationality and stuff like that. But I think what they don't understand is that like magical thinking is like a kind of thinking that you can be doing in concert with all of those other kinds of thinking, and so it just actually adds another dimension of what's open to your analysis. And like just because like it's like if your rationality told you something that science like was like very clearly refuting, you would have to find some sort of synthesis. You wouldn't just charge ahead when one of your like feedback systems was telling you it was a no-go. And I feel like that's what people don't get about magic. It's like if magic tells you to cut your head off, you know enough about other areas like of feedback that you think that that's probably not a good idea, and you don't do it, and you look for another interpretation or something like that.
You know, that I definitely agree with that. I 100% agree with that, I think. And it's a puzzle, too, because a lot of what you get out of mythology and out of... Also, religion is very relevant here. And out of, like, magical stuff.
To this podcast.
Sorry, this sound effect comes on every time we get a follower, cool. And it's sick.
Oh.
Welcome, Chevron42. Thanks for coming by. Thanks for the follow. Vogelfree says it's hard. They're hard to put together. There's something like, what am I trying to say? Sometimes the benefit of the like, here's a different way to put it. Why do magical thinking at all? It's because it's going to give you something extra. It's going to bring you somewhere different, right? But the different could be dangerous, and maybe that's both good and bad. And so how do you think about that? Does that make sense?
Yeah, like, I mean, like, doing science feels the same to me, though.
Okay.
Like, if you just go off doing science with no training, you're gonna, like, I don't know, combine some chemicals and explode them in your face and you're gonna die. And that would be terrible, and you want to avoid that. So it's like, there's, like, different methods for trying to get knowledge, and you should be careful with them, because you don't want to, like, melt your face or something terrible.
Right. Well, I also, have you read any Lovecraft? Have you gotten to read much Lovecraft?
I haven't read any Lovecraft, but I'm sure I would really like it because it is evidently very creepy.
All right, you're leaving here with at least two fiction recommendations for me.
Yes. Awesome.
The first is The Last Unicorn by Peter S. Beagle. And then as far as Lovecraft goes, there's a lot of different ones you can read, but my favorite, I will tell you, is The Hound.
Hound. Ooh, it sounds scary.
It is scary. I feel like I want to read like a clip. I probably can't read too much because I don't know how the fuck copyright works.
Yeah. Fair use button.
Let me find this. I'm going to read like a paragraph, and I'm going to turn it into night.
First 2 pages of Call of Cthulhu. Okay. Oh, cool. It's going to be night? That's smart. I love this idea.
We're totally doing it. We're going to make it darkness. Though Dubai looks nice. Just for this. All right, here we go. In my tortured ears there sounds unceasingly a nightmare whirring and flapping, and a faint distant baying as of some oh fuck, I fucked up already. Trial number 2. In my... Maybe you interrupted me. All right. Trial number 3. In my tortured ears, there sounds unceasingly a nightmare whirring and flapping, and a faint distant baying as of some gigantic hound. It is not a dream. It is not, I fear, even madness, for too much has already happened to give me these merciful doubts. St. John is a mangled corpse. I alone know why, and such is my knowledge that I am about to blow out my brains for fear that I shall be mangled in the same way. Down unlit and illimitable corridors of eldritch fantasy sweeps the black, shapeless nemesis that drives me to self-annihilation. Anyway, that's just a little bit of the Hound.
Oh, I love it.
Spooky. We're gonna turn,
so good.
We're going to turn the plane lights back on so we don't get too spooked.
Yeah, because I'm scared. Yeah.
Sorry.
And I'm impressed by your reading. It was lovely.
Thank you.
I spend so much time reading out loud, and I always think about like, oh, I should like have a stream and read aloud to the stream. But then I think I'd be embarrassed when I don't do it right. I'd be like, ah. And then I notice all of the times that I mess up when I'm just reading to my boyfriend, and I'm like, see, if that happened on the stream, you'd be like,
right. I used to do some readings. I used to read Plutarch's Lives. I read a couple of those out loud to friends. We did like a weekly thing, and it was very fun. But it was like, it's like I used to pay a lot of attention to like how tense is my vocal passage. Did I drink water? You know, I feel like if I read like more in a tense way for the first 20 minutes, I'm gonna be more tired and like worse later. So I imagine you'll have thoughts about that because you do singing.
Yeah, I do sing too, and it is really amazing to like think of your body as an instrument. That's such a trippy frame to be invited into, and it is like very, I don't know, it's very trippy. Like the way that you play a normal instrument, you like see what you're doing, and you can kind of explain to yourself what's going on, but at the same time, like the knowledge feels like it's in your body and not necessarily in your head. Right. And then it feels kind of almost even more like that with singing. It's like you don't really get the knowledge in your head at all. Like the fact that I know how to sing from like my stomach versus my chest versus my head is like something that I can't at all articulate in a way that makes logical sense. Like my vocal coach at least is knowledgeable enough that she knows like the anatomy of like, oh, see, this is changing how this works, and so the sound comes out differently or something like that. But for like there just isn't an explanation that a layperson could really make any meaning out of. Like I move my voice around in my body. I don't know how to explain it better than that. That's just what happens.
Yeah. It's interesting because you can choose to learn about all that like anatomical stuff.
Yeah, and sometimes it helps. It helps like knowing that your vocal cords like go this way, and so a high note involves like a horizontal change, not a vertical change. Somehow, for some reason, knowing that makes high notes easier to hit.
Wait.
And I cannot explain, but
it's a sideways thing.
Yeah, like what's happening in your throat is like a difference in the horizontal tension and how tight it's pulled across like the little flap in your neck.
Uh-huh.
So when you go high, it's a change on this plane, not on this plane. Like where it feels like psychologically when you don't know that and you're trying to hit a high note, you're reaching vertically with your voice, which is not anatomically what's going on. And once you know that it's a horizontal reach, you're psychologically like setting a slightly different intention that's a little bit more accurate to what the anatomical like correlate is that's going on. And so it's easier. It's like way easier to hit high notes now that I know that they're not higher up than low notes.
It's like that book about conceptual metaphors. Someone here probably knows what everyone's waking up their roommates with the high notes. What is this book? Metaphors We Live By is all about is it kind of like academic work about like if you say like say what like you know we're going into a new dimension or like we're like, why are you going into it or like you know like why are you putting yourself above me, right? Why is that above,
right?
And there's the whole discussion of like conceptual metaphors. It's sort of interesting to see that. But yeah, with singing high, why is it even high? Why is that high? Any of the high people in the audience have a thought on that?
Why are high notes high people?
Falsetto me. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Why is it high? Why do you get high? Are you higher when you're high? That's so weird. Another ℙ𝕙𝕚𝕚𝕦𝕝𝕒 thought.
Yeah, ℙ𝕙𝕚𝕚. Why do you call it getting high? Yeah, high frequency. Yeah, why is that a high frequency? You know, I guess it's a high frequency because it's many ticks, a high number of ticks or whatever in a unit of time.
Yeah. Yeah. But you could almost imagine things being different. Like you could imagine calling it fast or wide or something like that. Like there's lots of other metaphors that could work, but for some reason we're not chosen.
You call it dense. Yeah, maybe the phenomenology.
Yeah. Yeah, so interesting.
Yeah, falsetto vibrates in your head.
I feel like Alexander Tech has a bit of this too. It is true that like there is a head voice thing that happens. And it is also really interesting to be a singer because like I don't know if you I also play guitar, and if you play like a major chord and then play the same chord in minor, there's like a totally different emotion. And then again to sing just like amplifies that experience a little bit. Like it's very strange when I start moving things up to my head voice and singing. I like feel more vulnerable. I feel like more delicate. Like it's a real emotional shift because I'm using my body to make this different sound.
But I think another pattern for the follow. Good to have you. This makes me want to like do sound stuff. Like I want us to like do something. I don't know
what could we do?
I was thinking like we could set it up for another. My first thought was like, oh yeah, sometime. But I was like, we could just do something now. I don't even know what. This body stuff is so important, and it's going to be one of the harder things to like make part of life for our little online community. You know?
Yeah, it's true. It is like funny to sing because it also like requires the opposite of what my normal life requires. Like it's like relax, don't try so hard, don't think about what the right answer is, be in your body, be playful, move, keep moving, keep breathing.
Right. Yeah, I should keep breathing while I fly this plane.
Yeah, exactly.
Reading aloud is fun.
Sorry. Yeah.
No, I just saw it in chat.
Reading and narrating aloud. Yeah, it is really fun. I think that that's something that I was surprised about when it started to be a thing between me and my boyfriend. I thought that like reading a book together to me before in my life would have been like you both read the book. at the same time, you know, so that you can like hang out later and chat about the parts that were cool. But when he was like, no, reading together, like read it to me while I do something. And then that way we get to be doing a fun thing while we're getting chores done. And I was like surprised at how, so one thing about it that I really love is that it slows down the pace of reading, like to have to actually say everything aloud and give it its own cadence and stuff. You like end up making much slower progress through the book, which I normally, like, I can't do anything slowly. I'm so impatient. I'm like, just bam, bam, bam. My mind goes like a bullet train. So like to be slowed down, I like get put in the context where I actually have to savor it a little bit.
Right. To actually feel the words.
Yeah, and by voicing it aloud too, you notice sometimes how you feel about it. Like I almost would miss that I had emotional reaction to something that I was reading, but then I would hear in my voice that it like caught a little bit, and I was like, oh dang, I got sad.
It makes me think about, you know, the Romans studied rhetoric and like oratory and stuff. I think it's just good to be able to do. Like whenever I, you know, I'm called on to use my voice, I kind of like my voice, and I just love fucking hearing myself talk. And so what do?
Yeah.
I start a talk show where I can just talk, record myself talking, make other people listen to me talk. It's just like, but part of it is just, you know, like sort of what you're given, but I've been shocked at how much you can work on it, like especially with singing.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Oh my god, second subscription ever from Chevron42. Holy shit. Getting 2 subs today, this is literally like 1,000,000% more than I thought I was going to get in like the first fucking month or something. Because I thought I was going to get 0. But that's pretty sick. Nice.
Do you have another clitoral orgasm?
This one was a little, no comment. No comment. But I do feel a little flushed.
We got the beginning of a comment and it was redacted.
Yeah. That's right. Easy Bezos. Well, thank you, Daddy Bezos, for that strong experience. Yep.
You were talking though about how it's amazing how much you can learn in singing, and that blows me away. Like, so often I'll be in a voice lesson and I'll sing something and I'm asked to make just like one small adjustment, and I'm just like blown away with the results. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm. That's like one of the things where if I had a little more time and etc., I would definitely go for voice lessons, because it feels good. It like feels like healthy. I don't know.
Yeah, it does feel really good. And being able to sing with other people feels like very bonding. Like it's one of the things I find the most bonding. Like especially like music circling or improv. Like I don't know, like if you've like ever done these kind of like emotional like focusing sessions or collective presencing or circling, where you're all just kind of you know, sharing your feelings in this like squishy, unpredictable kind of way, but like to do that in a musical kind of context feels like absolute magic. I absolutely love it. Yeah,
I've had the great experience of being in a couple small choral groups before, and I was usually the worst singer in them, but that's the best experience, because then you get to have all these this amazing accompaniment. And,
yeah.
You know.
You have the most to learn of anybody there.
Vecnan asked me a question about whether I could ask you a question. Vecnan's question is, Kersey, ask maybe about being a girl online. Well, Vecnan, I will ask about that. Hey, maybe. What do you think?
I think it's fun. I think it's like a big part of my perspective, and I think the point of being online. Oh, ask maybe and then ask multi. That is funny.
Yeah.
Okay, well, maybe is answering right now. Maybe says, oh no, now different personalities are fighting for control of my mouth. Sorry. Okay. Yeah.
I will.
Maybe. Yeah. maybe says that it's like a big part of my perspective, and I try to make it as explicit as possible because I like having a really transparent social presence. I think that in a lot of ways, presenting yourself in this parasocial context all the time has a lot of like psychological dangers, and it's good to lead into I don't know, strategies to contain the disastrous things that could result from that, and just being very publicly myself and being very unfiltered and being very explicit about the things that are most salient to me about my own experiences help me keep the way that I'm presenting my online self and the way that I'm actually living my life as close to coherent as possible. But I've been really nervous the whole time that I've been saying this because I know that I'm going to switch personalities and my other personality is just going to roast me.
Okay. I want to hear you get roasted, and then at some point I also am curious to hear more about like the dangers of being online, like how you would characterize that, because I'm pretty interested in that. But as yourselves adjudicate the order.
Yeah, okay. So Malty is like always used Twitter as a dating site, and gender is like a big part of dating. You gotta be kind of like upfront about what you have to offer in that category when you're looking for love connections in a public space. And I also kind of feel like maybe I just like put a lot of effort into my girlness. I think there were times where I have stories of like being mistaken for a dude in public, like short hair, baggy sweatshirt, sitting on the plane, and the grandma's like, "Don't be loud, that little boy is trying to do his homework," and I just like let it go. And so yeah, like there were times where it's like the fact that I was like a girl was something that I was trying to conceal as much as possible in public, and I think that I'm like very gassed up by myself about how feminine I'm able to present myself now, when that was something that I didn't used to be able to do. And I just like, it's like when I make a piece of artwork and I like stare at it for a really long time and I put it on the internet and I tell everybody else, stare at this with me. I love it. I made it. I'm so proud of it. That's kind of how I feel about my own femininity. I'm just like, guys, look, I'm me. Isn't it so exciting? Isn't it so exciting? I'm so feminine and so cute, and you should all be so excited because I'm so excited and I just want to share it with you. And so it's like, I feel like, oh yeah, I know maybe was really scared I was going to roast her. So now I feel like I'm going to roast her just because like that was the expectation she set of me. So like, fuck you, myself. Yeah, like she's like, oh, I'm so intellectual. And I'm like, she's so social. We're just social. We just want to talk and gossip and know what's on your minds. And like the idea that this isn't all 100% for attention is just like, it's 100% for attention. And I guess maybe the difference between us is that I have like not a hint of shame about that. And I have not a hint of like apprehension that anybody else is doing something different with their social media presence. It's like, this is like, we're all lonely. We're all stuck at home. And this is where I can have friends and hang out and be adored the way that I adore myself. And so that's why we're really here, is to have the girl online be an exhibit. It's an exhibitionistic thing. Like, look at me, look at my life, enjoy it or not. If you don't enjoy it though, do get really pissed off about it, because that's also attention and I feed on that.
Your voice changed.
Yeah, it would.
And it's interesting because I felt like I also got a little bit of a glimmer of what I was seeing when you went when you expressed a little bit about your clown. There's something, I don't know, there's a moment.
That makes sense.
Of like the high energy.
I'm also blushing. So that's my normal personality coming back and being like, oh no.
Right.
Get back in the cage, you guys.
The other personality returns with blood.
Yes. Yeah, I think Visa once tweeted something like, nobody says anything, and then I say, I'll fuck me up, and it's like, that is definitely the dynamic inside the clown car.
The clown car. That's pretty good. I feel like you could do like the parts talking to each other. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I could have a Twitch stream and it could be a talk show and it could just be me, but also another me.
If you could figure out a way to like have somehow like be pausing the video, you know what I mean, and just have multiple video windows and like they're talking to each other.
Yeah, I need 2 cameras so I can just be swapping between camera angles.
Yeah,
that would be hilarious.
Exactly.
That would be some Adult Swim comedy gold.
Right. Hotkey to swap cams to the mirror or whatever.
Yeah. Oh, that would be so fun. The only fear is that I would drive myself deeper into my own insanity, but I mean, it's a risk I'm willing to take for content.
Yeah, for content. The other, but I wanted to ask you about the sort of parasocial thing. Yeah. What say more about that? I want to hear about your take. It's sort of like the dangers of being online, because I've got some, we're all kind of experimenting with this a little bit, and then I have some thoughts, but I want to hear your thoughts.
Well, I think there's definitely like different dangers that it poses depending on your personality. I think that for some people, the big temptation is to fill their life with relationships that they can project a lot of closeness into, and they'll feel that closeness, but that closeness won't actually be mutual. And then they end up like crossing people's boundaries and stuff like that. So that's like kind of like the more fanatic side of parasocial relationships. I am more like aligned to be tempted to just like be on the other side of that parasocial relationship, where I'm presenting a broadcast version of my personality that's like as like widely agreeable as possible, so that I'll be like loved by the most amount of people. And I've like kind of referred to that as like my manic pixie dream girl shadow. Like there's this temptation to like try to be everybody's perfect fantasy girl and then get all the attention. But I've fallen into that pitfall. It's not something that I'm like, oh yes, I know that's there, I'll avoid that. It's like something that I've like trudged through and then like picked up my feet and been like, what's all over my shoes? What's happened? And so it took some time to be like, oh, you know what's wrong is I'm doing this thing where I try to be likable to everybody. And then when some part of myself that doesn't fit that front comes out, people are like, ew, what's going on? And I'm like, oh, see, but I set myself up for that by pretending I was this like, just like, I don't know, consistent, generally likable person that I'm not actually able to be all the time. And so gradually, as I keep getting like hit with that, like, stop pretending everybody's gonna like you wall, I've been more and more unfiltered and more inconsistent and more willing to show the part of myself that's like in the shame, struggling through it, not like, oh, here's how I overcame shame.
Right. It's interesting. By the way, I decided to land the plane. I don't know why. We're going to take it back up, but I just thought it would be interesting to cruise on the ground for a little bit.
Kind of. I like this. This feels like the place that somebody gets taken to get like killed for like going the wrong way in a drug deal or something.
Right.
This is like some place where you don't even actually have to kill a person. You can just leave them here and fly away, and that's like as good as they're not going to be okay, you know. These are the things that I muse about. Right. I've watched so many horror movies that it's like bizarre how many mundane things are like death waiting behind that corner.
It was interesting what you said about the sort of parasocial thing. That's right. This part of the conversation is down to earth. We're going to go back up with the vibe. What
do I know about running a cartel?
Clown cartel.
More than you know.
Dude, clown cartel is hilarious. Just that phrase is fucking hilarious.
So like turn this into a Twitter bio. I am the what's the like leader of the cartel called? I am whatever that is of the clown cartel.
The
ℙ𝕙𝕚𝕚𝕦. Run by an insane posse.
Yeah. There's a thing that I've been experiencing and with the Twitter relationships thing where it's
Mm-hmm.
so it's sort of like there's different stages. So there's stages where you're just very excited about people. Like maybe you're always excited about people. For me, that's like a state where I'm like, sweet, like there's all these people, they're around, they could be anything, right? And then there's like you kind of get to know them, and then like okay, they're actual people, they've got flaws, like they're like anybody in the world, but like, and then sometimes that's also where the relationship takes off, right? Kersey gets hit on a lot, calling it here. No comment. The the chat is thing I can say to that is no comment. The but I don't know. It's interesting. I've also experienced the thing where it's like there are people who kind of seem like they think you owe them like a relationship. You maybe experienced this. You're probably post some amount of this because you're doing, like with Malty, like you're doing a very like drawing people in kind of activity is sort of my clumsy way to put it. Like where people expect something from you, or they want it to be something, or mean something, or like turn into, it's like kind of fantasy, but like people I imagine are like pushing boundaries and shit like that. I almost feel like I've encountered that with myself, where I'm online, I'm shooting the shit, I'm bullshitting, I'm making jokes, I try to be friendly, but now and then I do run into people where it's like, okay, like, why are you messaging me so much, or like whatever, like, usually people can read the vibe. 99% of people can read the vibe and they're chill and everything's fine and cool. But it's just, I've just been surprised because it makes me be like, what am I actually putting out there? What message am I sending? You know what I mean? I don't know. That's my ramble on that.
I wonder if maybe there's a part of it that feels like a little bit less salient to me just because of the girl online factor. Like I'm used to it from other areas of life, like people kind of like projecting a bunch of expectations onto you, and so maybe on some level I both expect it more. I kind of like in my worldview it's just like a reality that has to be navigated, and I also have probably had more practice rejecting people. It's like something that I have to do a lot, and it I guess like when it's new to you, it feels like how bad it hurts to be rejected when you're on that side of it, and I think you can almost feel angry that someone's putting you in this position where you're having to draw a boundary and exclude them in some way, and you're like, why would you do this to me? Why can't you just be cool? And I like have so much empathy for that, because there is still like, as much as I may be desensitized to it, anytime anybody wants something from me and I have to say no, it's like I wish I could say yes. I wish I had unlimited time and attention and patience and compatibility, and I could make everybody in the world happy, and that would be fantastic. But it's just not the way that things are. I think that there's another part of it that feels like maybe I understand that like to cultivate the vibe, you have to have some sort of boundaries, and the vibe is like it's something that I'm willing to put ahead of the feelings of somebody that I don't know. And there's something about like having like clarity on that as my value. Like it's like, look, this is a space where I do a lot of like personal exploration and growth and connecting with other people, and all of that relies on my vibe where I feel comfortable doing all those things, and that takes priority over your expectations or things like that. And so it's easy for me to be like, sorry, if you're not fitting the vibe, I'm just not gonna like engage with you on the level that you're looking for. Another thing too is I find that you don't really have to reject people outright very often. I think that like if you don't feed things attention, they die out on their own. And it's amazing how much like just the absence of a like or a reply communicates that like this is not what I'm looking for. Bring something else into this space if you want to get engagement from me.
I think you're a couple clicks ahead of me on having thought this through, and it's useful to hear your thoughts for me specifically. There's something like, it's also that the ability to set boundaries prevents you from getting burned out, prevents bad interactions, and therefore establishes the possibility of more good interactions and more good things with people. It's a protection of the good thing you're building. Vecnan, I believe you that you had to turn down a guy at a gay bar and felt bad. I believe you about both.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm bisexual, so I never have to turn somebody down based solely on orientation. That's one of the perks of being me.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah, you take your wins where you can get them.
Yeah. Why not? I didn't know I was in a gay bar, so I felt especially bad.
Oh, no!
You douchebag.
Oh, that's so funny. Right, yeah, that would feel sad because it's like they had a reasonable expectation that that would not be the reason that they were rejected.
Yeah. Good to see you,
no.
Vogelfrey. Thanks for coming by.
You're welcome. See you later.
Always good to have you. Former guest, Sir Vogelfrey. Interview Philosopher. Maybe I will. Yeah, I don't actually know who I don't know if I follow that person, but I'm intrigued. Why not? Okay, I decided that we're going to Canada.
That's where I live.
Yeah, that's why. I think I had it in my head that you were just gonna say Canada, but I think I stereotyped you a little bit.
No, I think if I was going somewhere next, I probably would have chosen Alaska, but Alaska is just American Canada.
We can go to. I want to go to Snow.
Snow, yeah, that sounds delightful.
How do we go to Snow? Maybe Alaska's a better bet.
Yeah. As far north as possible, right? That would be what I would think.
Oh shit! Should we go to like straight like?
What's my favorite cheap alcohol drink? That's a good question. Lately, I have Bailey's from Christmas, so I get that in my coffee all the time.
Nice.
Enjoy that a lot. I also learned how to make Cosmos a while ago, and I enjoyed that a lot. They feel like fancy and girly.
How do you make it?
I don't know if that's cheap though. I don't remember. I think it's like cranberry juice and vodka and maybe some lime juice too. Maybe some other stuff. I don't remember now, but they were delicious. It was back when we could have parties, and then I'd invite people over and I'd make them all Cosmos, and I'd feel so, I don't know, glamorous.
Nice. Oh, Anchorage. The tricky thing about the North seems to be that it's dark as hell all the time.
It is dark. People get sad. SAD, sad.
Right. SAD.
Yeah.
Sad.
They have to buy happy lamps.
Yeah. All right, well, let's just try it. Let's just try Alaska.
Oh no, we didn't mean to make you sad, Chevron 42.
Now I'm SAD. Any preferences for another plane, or do we stick with this plane?
Oh, I do love our little blue plane, actually. I think I'd be sad to see it go.
All right, we're sticking with Little Blue.
Little blue. Aw.
All right.
So cute.
Let's check out Alaska. Let's see what we get here. Was it popular? Damn, I forgot about parties. Yeah, dude. I don't know what well whiskeys are. I don't know what that is. I know what I like, and what I like is Scotch, and I know like about 5 Scotches, and I've compared them, and I have opinions on them, but I don't actually know the whole range. Go to alert. I don't know what that means. Fermented ewe's milk. What? Oh, top shelf, mid shelf, bottom shelf. Oh, well. Well is like cheap. Wait, look. This is Alaska. I want it to be snowy. This is bullshit.
Oh, it's quite lush, though.
This is bullshit.
I think parts of Jurassic Park were filmed in Alaska.
I try to go to Alaska. It's January, and it looks like this. Oh, alert is a place. We're getting out of it. I want to go to cold Alaska. The problem is it might be super dark. I'll try this alert in Nunavut.
Alert is the farthest place north in Canada. Huh, that's interesting.
Oh, in Canada.
Nunavut is the same age as my baby sister. It's weird that places can have ages.
Look at the sun. It literally just never is going to be light here. Wait, does it get really like short days in Canada?
Yeah, our days get very short, and then in the summer our days are like really long. Like you have to have blackout blinds, or else you wouldn't be able to sleep regular schedule because
Oh,
it's
wow.
just bright still at like 11 o'clock in the night.
All right, well, we could just go way up there.
Fuck warm Alaska.
What about Stewart? Does that seem like a place that would...
Stewart.
This looks cold. I'm clicking it.
Okay.
Edmonton International. That sounds... Calgary. Those are real places. Vancouver.
Yeah,
Those are real places.
That's actually my hometown.
Which one?
Edmonton.
Oh, cool. It's a rival.
It's usually a really fun festival city. Of course, this year has been an exception.
Right. I don't think we're going to make it on this run because it's 3 hours away from the place we started, but we'll go in. We're going in that direction through many strange places.
Yeah, we're heading home.
Yeah,
Aww.
heading home.
That's cute.
Assume the Inuits lost a lot of flights. Oh, what's your favorite cheap drink?
Fight.
Cheap drink. I mean, I like Bullet. If we're talking about whiskey, I like Bullet. I don't. Is that sub $25? Dude, this place isn't even. All right. Well, it looks beautiful though. Let's just go. Look at this place. Are you seeing this?
Okay, wait, I'm seeing it now, maybe.
It's loading up.
So green. Oh, wow.
It's very green.
Beautiful.
No snow.
Do you travel a lot? Like, do you like Flight Simulator because it reminds you of your traveling days, or?
I've traveled a bit. I spent a summer in China, and that was probably one of the wilder things I've done.
Wow. Cool.
That was cool. It was a crazy experience. I want to travel way more. Yeah, I've been in Europe a little bit. I've seen a couple places like that. Been to Turkey. That maybe is also up there on exotic locales. Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Mage, there's no snow here. I don't know. There's beautiful, like, mountains, though, which I'm kind of in favor of.
Yeah, they feel like video game hills in the background of like Mario or something.
Yeah, in fact, they are video game hills, but they are just like video game hills.
Well, I guess that's true. Like other video game hills.
Yeah.
We could go see Santa in the North Pole. Yeah.
Yeah, we could see Santa. Santa.
Santa, I know him.
Yeah. Are you homies with Santa?
No, but I love Elf so much. It's like the best Christmas movie of all time.
You know, one day, I think it was like a year ago, I was home and my mom just decides we're gonna watch Elf, and
Again, it's not Christmas time.
No, it was around Christmas time, but it was just deeply out of character for her. Like,
oh, really?
Very
That's
out of
funny.
character. Like, and we watched the whole thing, and I think they didn't laugh like one time, like her and my dad, and then they were like, "Yeah, that was that good." I was like, "What just happened?"
It's so funny.
It was weird. Moms love Elf. It's like you get to some scene where he's just eating candy out of a bowl, you know, that all the marshmallows and shit. They were not having it.
That's so funny. It's really weird watching movies with people who are like visibly not enjoying the movie. It's like a very weird feeling.
Yeah. I imagine Kersey's whole family has the stash. That's right. We just sit around.
Very funny. Now that's what I'm picturing too. That's great.
My dad does kind of a little bit. Oh, there's snow over there. I see snow-capped mountains over there. Behind us.
Oh, nice.
Maybe we're gonna go over there.
Okay, we're hunting for snow.
Yeah, for snow. Sorry, that's not how you said that, but you just have a great voice. You have a great voice.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Uh-oh. All right,
Magic
guys.
Discord.
Vecnin is...
I love it. I like Bossy Vecnin. It's fun.
Bossy Vecnin. That's another one we gotta recall. Bossy... Bossy Vecnin Critter. I'm writing this down so I can remember to tweet about it.
I've got tarot cards right here. I can do like a poll for the chat.
Yeah, totally. Oh my, wait, can you do that? By the way, Holy Weather, I have read that book. I think I read it. They had us read it in school.
Oh yeah, I never read Hatchet either.
No, but I did read it.
Yeah, but I didn't.
But you said either.
Oh, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah. Wait, what are you gonna do? You've got tarot cards on hand.
Yeah. So I'll pull a card for the chat. I don't know. I'm not gonna ask like even a question.
Okay.
I'm just gonna let my tarot deck decide what we need to know
All right, chat.
collectively as a.
Chat, get hype. You're about to get. You're about to get pulled.
Yeah, this is like real magical knowledge that you're gonna be dropped upon.
Long range magic.
Long range magic. I've done a lot of long range magic and it is very effective. Oh, 7 of Swords. This is great. This is like some trickster energy. This is like
I want to look at that.
very for the walls. Can you see it well?
Oh, cool. That's pretty.
Yeah,
It's
it's shiny. Yeah.
That guy's just toting around the swords.
Yeah, it's like I like it for a poll for a stream chat because it's very much like poorly thought out plans and like trickster energy and yeah, I don't know, like
Yeah.
it has like goofy vibes for sure. I feel like it's fun. Tell us more about this sword toter. It's like the idea is that he's kind of like leaving stuff behind. Like you can see there's 2 swords behind him still. And so the idea is that he's like doing something that he hasn't thought all the way through. Oh yeah, that pond is really pretty too.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's doing something that he hasn't thought through. He's like he's trying to get away with as much as he can, but
Right.
There's stuff that's going to get left behind in the chaos. And it's like the idea is that he's acting alone, but the number of swords implies that there's like a group of people who are the victim of this prank. And so in different contexts that can mean different things, but in the context of like a stream, it makes me feel like it represents the way that we're all kind of coming together on our own and willing to put ourselves up as the jokester at any given moment on behalf of the rest of the group. And I think that there's maybe like something about being able to like consume and take, like the chat is here enjoying and consuming what we are putting ourselves out there and making ourselves available to produce. What does it mean when a card is upside down? It means it's called a reversed. So a reversed card represents that whatever energy that card is talking about is like blocked. So sometimes some cards don't change. Like the meaning doesn't change much when it gets reversed. Lots of cards are kind of like so pure in their energy that they mean the same thing, whether they're upright or not. But other cards, it can be really stark contrast. So like card like this, if it's like pulled up and you're asking for advice, it would mean something like wing it, do what you want. Don't ask for permission, like ask for forgiveness later kind of thing.
Right.
But if it was upside down, it was the advice is like, you are in over your head, think this through, ask for somebody else's help, make sure that you don't leave anything behind because what you're doing is like actually important. So this is like the shitposting side. And then the upside down would be like, stop shitposting.
Would be
Not
like,
safe to shitpost right now.
tighten it up a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and don't be impulsive. It's like a very impulsive card.
This is wild. So
Oh, you got Knight of Pentacles for us. Oh, I like that. That's fun.
What does it mean? What does it mean?
It means that we're kind of like we're making a real world connection in a way. To me, that's what I see. Because the knight is holding the pentacle out, and he's like looking at it very lovingly. And the pentacle represents kind of like earthly things, what's available in the material world. And I kind of like that. I like the idea that we've maybe like got a lot of philosophical background and like metaphysical interests, but when we're connecting here, the primary goal is to like connect as people and chill and feel connected with the people in the chat too. And I like that that's like the priority.
Yeah. Nice. Sort of making something real. What is a pentacle? What maybe is like, a pentacle?
It's like a coin.
It's a coin?
Yeah. It's a funny example of materiality. It's like very tied with work and practice and maturity, responsibility, but then also like earthly pleasures. Like the King of Pentacles is like very regal and has like very obvious wealth, and he's enjoying it, and he feels good about that. He doesn't feel guilty about being wealthy. He feels like that's a sign of his development as a person, that he's been able to surround himself with luxury. And so it's like, it's the path of earthly things.
You said earthly pleasures, and I looked around for my whiskey. I was like, where are earthly pleasures?
Oh, yeah. I reminded you.
Yeah. It's a French metal band. Pentangle is the hippie band. A pentacle is half of a tentacle. Savage.
Oh.
Commitment to one's goals.
So fun.
You know, that's another thing. Like, I feel like it would be fun if more people did Twitch stuff, like more like the Twitter people did Twitch stuff. I think some do. I don't know everyone who does. But I feel like tarot is pretty good content. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like people watch that. Like, I'm kind of into it. It's sort of interesting. I'm half.
Yeah, I really like it too.
I half want to ask you to like do me, but
yeah.
Whenever I see it in fiction, they pull some shit and they're like, oh no.
No, I'm sure it won't be like that.
But can it be like that?
It definitely like this deck in particular, I find, is not afraid to be very blunt. But it's never wrong. And I do think that it's ultimately like very benevolent. So when it's being very blunt, it's because it's something that you really will take better because you're seeing it coming.
Right.
So it's worth it in the end. I do feel like I have, the main one that I get from this deck that doesn't make people happy is I draw the Tower when things aren't going to work out or when things are going to change in really drastic ways. The Tower card will come out and I'll have to tell people, it's like, oh, that relationship, that's going to be over real quick. Sometimes it's my own relationship and I'm like, oh, do I tell you that no? Oh, yeah. Well, I guess I gotta tell you. The truth is part of the magic.
Right. All right. I'm fucking ready. Let's do some. Also, if anyone in chat wants, say again.
Oh yeah. If you have a specific question, and that goes to you or to anybody else in the chat too. Oh no. You brought the card for your dog. Oh, that's so sad. Remind me never to pull a card for my dog ever in my life.
Fuck that. No, fuck that.
Yeah. Okay. Do you have a question, Kersey, or?
Right. Yeah. No, I can think of a question. Give me a second.
Okay.
What? Just like life questions, like.
Anything.
Anything?
Yeah, it'll answer anything.
All right. What I want to ask is like. Right now, I'm going through a period that's pretty unclear. That's how I feel. And.
Okay.
In the sense that I've got a lot of projects, I've got a lot of sort of commitments. I pick things up, I drop things. It's never quite clear like what's going to work. You know what I'm saying? like I'm not sure if I have the right heading. I feel kind of like lost in the mist, and I do think I'll figure it out. But that is like what's like very much on my mind. So I guess I'd ask like, I don't know, how do I relate to that? Is that a good question?
Sure. Yeah. I love it.
Yeah.
It's interesting because a card already comes, like, sometimes I get pictures of the cards in my head while people are asking the questions.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what it was if it's, whether it's the same or different as whatever I pull for you. But... Okay. How should you relate to all this uncertainty? Oh, so interesting. It isn't what I thought it was, but it was a card that has a very similar energy.
Okay.
This is the Four of Cups. So it's like somebody's sitting under a tree.
Yeah.
And there's 3 cups in front of them, and then there's a 4th cup being offered.
Right.
Not looking at it.
Right.
And so in this case, what I imagine...
I'm also not looking at the plane, which just flipped over. Okay, we're good. Okay. Sorry, go for it.
Well, I guess what I wonder is, like, how do you feel about the character sitting under the tree? What's your reaction when you see this person sitting there?
I was like, yeah, that's me. I was like, yeah, I'm sitting there thinking about my cups, and I'm not thinking about the cup. You know what I mean? That I could have. Also, I'm getting double audio. I don't know if that's what's happening there, but maybe it just stopped being double audio. Yeah, that was my reaction.
Yeah, that's like, it's interesting because depending on how you read it, the advice is different.
Yeah.
Because people will have really positive emotions about the sitting under the tree. But for you, you're kind of seeing it as like, oh, that's the thing that I'm doing wrong too.
Yeah.
And so, like, I imagine is that there are like things that you already have, and are kind of the sphere of potential imminent around you, and you're not like noticing the patterns, you're not noticing the similarities and the differences, and you're not like getting the intuitions that you could be if you were engaging outside of yourself. Because I definitely read him usually as sitting here and having a very inward focus too. Like, it's his body language is kind of like all drawing in toward himself.
A little self-absorbed, yeah.
Outside of him.
Yeah, I almost felt mad about it.
Oh yeah, you felt mad about it? That's so interesting.
Well, I felt mad because I was like, and we do want to answer. I also want to get to Vecnan's question because Vecnan's question is good. But I felt like you motherfucker, why you pick up that cup? That's how I felt.
Right.
Take it. Vecnan says that means it's true if you thought
and it's
mad.
It's interesting too because you asked, how do I relate to that?
Right.
I wonder if I'd have pulled a different card if you asked, how should I relate to that?
Right.
This seems like it resonated with you a lot as like, this is where I'm at. Yes.
Well, it seems like your deck has a sense of humor. Because I did want to know how should I. I did want to know how should I, but it gave me, well, this is how you do, which is what I asked.
Yeah, that's true.
It's trolling me.
The card that I had in mind was slightly different. I wonder if I can find it somewhere. The card is the Knight of Wands, and the reason that came to mind, I think, for me is that it's the card that I've gotten from my deck when I've felt really unclear and I've been like trying a bunch of things and not knowing what's going to stick.
Right.
And it's a card about somebody who's like tapped into their energy. And so they're like kind of overflowing with inspiration, but they haven't matured enough to find direction. So they don't know how to channel all of this like crazy wild energy that they have.
Right.
Gives it like sort of a restless vibe.
That also relates. I spent this year basically thinking like, how do I be more generative? This was actually a thing. I was like, how do I make more stuff this year? And I basically figured out how to make more stuff, and I'm making all the stuff, and it's like exploding out my ears. I got a newsletter. I got this. I'm coaching people. I can make a giant list, and I'm writing fiction. I'm videos, but like it's lacking direction. It's for sure lacking direction.
Right. So it almost makes sense then that like this is the night, and he kind of reflects where you're at now too.
Yeah.
Like, look at you go. You're going. You're moving.
Right.
At the same time, it's like what the deck probably thinks you need to understand is that there's like some like emotional source of power behind all the creativity, besides just the energy and the intuition. And there's like maybe something about how you feel that ought to be going into your work,
right?
But you haven't been tapping into it yet.
Cool. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That'll give me something to think about. Yeah. Vectin did have a question. What is the path forward for the community? Which is an interesting.
Oh, interesting.
Which you can take if you wish to. I don't know how the magical tides go, and when it speaks and when it doesn't. But if it appeals.
Oh, it speaks. It's just if you have the courage to ask, which at times fails me.
By the way, I'm noticing this is pretty cool. This little software on the plane shows you like all the hills.
Oh, it knows the topography.
Yeah. Vectin is thinking about a leading role, or he gesticulates broadly that some want this. I mean,
Yes, it's very interesting. Oh, my favorite. This is one of my favorite cards by far. It's the 9 of Pentacles. And this is a brilliant answer to the question.
I see this.
But what this is to me, like the least woo, most like in a nutshell way I can put it is that this card is soft discipline. I don't know if you can see, she's got this little bird on her shoulder, and if you knew about it, you would know it's a falcon. She's a falconer. Cool. So it's this idea that this lovely little lady has this bird of prey that has invested its allegiance to her, and it's through this sort of like warmth you see in her character that she's been able to create a relationship with a more powerful and wild and free side of herself, and like the mastery of that kind of discipline is what has brought her wealth.
Oh, all those coins are the wealth?
Yeah.
It's very cool. I like this.
On maybe like a darker level, though, she's also alone, and that's something that I find significant. I think right now it's an interesting answer to what is the way forward for the community, because to me what it's saying is that the way forward for the community is for each individual to really like double down in their commitment to their own personal development. We're all kind of like separate from each other right now, and if we're going to be able to like overcome the like increasing levels of separation that we're facing, we're all going to have to kind of like up the intensity of our energetic openness, and that's going to take a lot of like personal development work to do that, because you're gonna have to it's like singing again. It's like to be able to get your voice to the back of the room, you've got to train so that you can hold your body open, and all of that resonance can get out into the entire room, and that's what we'll have to be doing here too. How do you feel about that, Vectin? I'm wondering about the reception of your reading.
We'll give him a moment.
Yeah, I'm excited. Oh, yeah, that's awesome.
Very fitting, because the community is about introspection. So it's sort of like, so how are you relating that to the introspection thing? Maybe.
For me, the way there's like the unconscious discipline is
Right.
like the stick. It's like easy to reach for, easy to lash out with. It's like it's natural in the worst sense. It's like hardwired into us. It's so available, and it's like the quick path that is like often not fitting. And it takes a lot of introspection to create the space between yourself and that habitual reaction, that like really quick reflexive emotional reaction, and be able to like take a carrot approach and create the conditions for people to act in alignment with what the community's needs are in this context, or whatever else.
Word. Yeah, interesting. I like your deck. I keep thinking about the colors and stuff. It's very striking.
Yeah, I like it too. I like the gold foil. It feels a little bit decadent.
Yeah.
But I also like that it's quite faithful to the original Rider-Waite-Smith artwork, because that's what you're often guided to learn first. And so it still feels like it's deepening my relationship with the symbolic motifs in the deck.
Yeah, nice deck, maybe. Another pattern mentions the Twitter question. We get the girl with the bird in her hand. That's cool.
Oh, yeah, that's interesting. Very fun. It's interesting that the bird is something that we're supposed to master.
Yeah.
It's not our job to get Twitter to fix its shit. We are the shit. We gotta fix ourselves.
That's right. The answer is get back on Twitter, motherfucker. Master it.
Yeah.
No, though also part of mastering it is knowing when to log off. This is something I've been going back and forth with. I like, I sometimes have good addiction kind of feeling where it's just like, hell yeah, it's like working and it's all I want to do, but it's like cool things are happening. And then it's just like, you get a little bit of bad addiction. So I bought that box. I don't know if you saw me tweeting about that fucking box I bought.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I have it over there. I could grab the box. Where I lock my fucking phone in this box. I've been thinking about doing like Twitter Shabbat. Or like getting the community to do Twitter Shabbat. I don't know if this is sort of like not what people would want to do. But it would basically be like, what if after sundown on one day we just didn't do it? Or even for a full day. What if all of us just didn't do it? That would be sort of interesting.
Yeah. It'd be fun because there would still be a sense of community in not doing it if that's what everybody else is doing.
Yeah. I feel like it would also be forgivable
There's still
to
a
like
sense of connection.
Yeah, and if people were group chatting like a little bit, you know what I mean, but just not tweeting a lot. I don't know. I haven't thought this through that much. It's sort of a half thought that occurred to me.
Yeah. It is interesting to think of doing like more breaks, or even just trying to set like healthy norms in your own social media circle. Like,
yeah,
it would be interesting to see. Oh, somebody's asking me to ask myself a question.
Whoa. I guess does it work that way? You can do that, right?
Oh yeah, I can totally ask myself. That's who I usually ask about, is myself.
Yeah.
I wonder what my question is though. I think that's like almost the stranger one. Oh, maybe ask Multi a question. Oh yeah, I could do that actually if that's more fun. Drawing another card, because we could have a conversation and that would be funny.
I'm down.
I wonder what I'm curious about Multi. First thing that comes to my mind is I wonder about how she's feeling about Twitter as a dating landscape, because that's something that kind of drew her there, but she hasn't been dating anybody other than her for a while. So that's my question. So
there you go.
I have to be Multi. There's no, yeah, see, I need a camera angle or something. It's a strange way that I thought that I was sort of over it for a little while. And I thought part of it was maybe that there was some sort of like like respect for pandemic world that came from it. Like, it didn't feel fair that everybody is outlawed from dating in person. And I'm like really comfortable with long distance stuff, but it feels like in solidarity with everybody else, it feels like bad to maybe have a new romantic connection when nobody else is allowed to really pursue that in the medium that feels comfortable for them. But I did find that like I was maybe it's the full moon energy, but I was getting more attention lately, and I was more receptive to it than I thought. And somebody asked me on a date recently, and I didn't say yes. But it was something that I like surprised myself, and I think a lot of it was because the person who asked me out, they were really casual about it, and they didn't give me any vibes that they like expected it to necessarily go anywhere, especially given the global circumstances. So I don't know. I feel like I'm not answering the question. How do I feel about it is not the same as what am I doing? How do I feel about it? Sometimes I feel conflicted about the extent, like paradoxical, and I don't know like if it's a balanced paradox. Like, am I using dating online as a way to get closer to people or a way to keep a comfortable distance from them so that I don't have to have the sort of intimacy that I would be having in a like physical location relationship? I guess I'm just like, I'm like watchful of myself for that, because I have a strong preference for having tools in my life that help me confront my fears of intimacy. And I hope that I'm using this way, and I can make an argument for it. Like, this would be a much more isolating world for me since March if I wasn't super active on Twitter and enjoying the company of people there. But at the same time, yeah, I've kind of invited people into an emotional space with me sometimes that I knew was limited in a way that maybe they didn't really anticipate. And I've been fine with that limitation. I haven't like craved the extra intimacy. In fact, like I say, maybe I even feared that extra level of intimacy. And then to see it really bother them that wasn't available and have things like maybe end over that or something like that, it makes me question if it's like fair for me to invite people into those kind of feelings, knowing that I'm not really offering the full package. But it's actually something that comes up to me as like a sort of, I don't know, their insecurity feels like a loaded term, but there's a doubt about polyamory that way too. Like, sometimes monogamous people feel like it's a really important part of the relationship that you're offering like your full time and attention to one person. And even though people get into relationships with me knowing that I have relationships with other people and that I don't have like all of my romantic time and affection available for one person, the reality of that for people who are new to that kind of lifestyle can be difficult for them to get used to. And sometimes I feel a little bit of guilt, like maybe that's not super fair. But I don't know. It's hard to be fair to everybody.
Well, right. Well, and it's like, are they prepared? I mean, it seems to me like they've either tried it or they haven't. And if they haven't, they better be ready for something to be new, right? And if they have, then they probably would be, have some sense. That would sort of be my take. But I don't know how that sits with you.
Yeah, I think sometimes it's like it's strange to me, because I find that that my side of having multiple partners tends to be a little bit more fraught for me than my partner's side of having other partners. Like, sharing him, no problem. It's easy. Go on, do whatever you want, baby. I love you. That's great. And there's just like, I don't have to manage any of the feelings around that. But I think that like, even in just my like relationship number one, I'm not completely 100% comfortable with like having a sexuality and having that be a live ask in a relationship, like to want to interact on that level. So to then be like, have two sexual partners, it's like, oh my gosh, that's like, how could you ask for that? No one will love you. You're so greedy. And it's like a little like fear that I have in my head that it's like difficult. It's difficult for me to get over it, even if no one else in the situation is having these feelings about me. I'm like, no, I'm like not supposed. I'm a woman. I'm supposed to be all chaste and pure or something like that,
Right.
which is something I never like consciously think about myself. But the programming is there. I grew up in a family that was really conservative, and the idea of like being a sexually liberated woman was not something that I was raised to like see on the horizons.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. I find that the older I get and the more I feel like I kind of learn about the world, the more and more I'm like, damn, there's another thing that is complicated about being a woman in a different way that I didn't think of. Like, I get that thought a lot where I'm like, holy shit, I didn't have to deal with. The one that was hit me the other day, I don't know why I was even thinking about this, was something, it was something somebody said on Twitter, I'm pretty sure. It was something like, you know, sort of like being a kid, right? And then suddenly, you know, as they put it, suddenly being like given like the goods, right? Where like something changes and like now you're on the marketplace in people's eyes, right? And that being just a whole transition to like deal with and think about is just an example of a thing where I was just like, you know, I feel like my empathy's gone up a little bit over the years just thinking about things, but something you said made me think about that.
That's true. I do remember like the point at which as a little girl I realized I like looked like something and that was more important because I was a girl.
Right. Right.
Like at some point in like 6th grade I had to learn about fashion, and guys in 6th grade did not have to learn about fashion. And it's like weird. I don't remember anyone like coming to my door and knocking on it and being like, hello, we're the fashion police. We come for women. Get to 6th grade and we start chasing them. So we're just here to let you know you better study fashion. Like that didn't happen. And yet somehow it dawned on me that like this was going to be a big part of whether or not I had social status. And it's like, oh, weird.
Yeah. I don't know what happened to me, but it was at some point in high school I started going to the mall. I started thinking about clothes in high school.
Yeah, it happens for guys, but it feels like, yeah, a little bit later, maybe.
A little later and lower, different stakes, lower in many ways, much lower stakes, I would say.
Yeah.
Speaking in generalities, fashion is red. Vectin happens to run or has run in the past a big a fashion subreddit.
Oh, fine.
There's always the autiste move of opting out of the status game gets you bullet, though. Yeah. It's sort of opting out is sort of just choosing to be okay with losing, is sort of one way to put it. It's a little bit... You do want to opt out of some of those things, but it, you know, some kind of balance.
It's funny. It's like if I had a worse hand, I would fold. But there's a few good cards in there. And so I like can't help but kind of want to play it out. Like I got some stuff going for me.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm liking these little mountains, by the way. This environment's change of pace.
Yeah. Yeah, it's beautiful. It's very serene. I feel like traveling is one of the few things that like would invoke presence for me before I knew about like psychedelics or meditation or anything like that. Just like getting hit with the feeling of being in a totally new environment, and suddenly I'm aware of how it smells different and it feels different in my skin and it looks different, and it just the entire immersive sensory experience of like being in a different place would like shock me into these moments of clarity that I've like been like, oh, this is the travel feeling when I'm like on a trip or meditating really deeply or something. Like it's like,
you know, amazing. I almost reliably have big breakthroughs when I'm on long plane rides.
Oh yeah.
there's just something about it. It might just be not having internet for like 16 hours or whatever the hell it is. It might, or 13, It might just literally be that. I'm not sure, but it just, there's something just, again, it's like a liminal space. Like I feel like I'm in a portal between worlds where I can have something new can happen,
Yeah.
Last big breakthrough is a day spent in planes.
When I was young, I loved flying. I thought it was the most exciting thing. And as I've gotten older, I've developed more and more like flight anxiety.
Oh, really?
It brings out existential terror in me in a great way. But it is like, I'm like very aware when I'm in a plane that I'm like a fleshy meat being in a tin can.
Yeah.
Like suspended very far above anything solid, and it like I feel fragile. There's like a body horror to it for me.
I've absolutely
hope
had
I didn't
that.
ruin flying.
No, the big one I had is I remember being on a plane reading a Tom Clancy novel, which I don't usually do, but reading a Tom Clancy novel about like a plane hijacking while I was on the plane. And that was an experience just like a long time ago.
Yeah, that's fun. I've watched like Poseidon on a cruise. It's like the boat flips over. You're like, no, too real right now.
I've only been on one cruise, and it was literally the cheapest one we could find. It was a friend and I. We literally looked at it. We were like, "What's the cheapest cruise?" And we found a real cheap. It was like couple $100. Like it was really cheap, for like 8 days or who knows. It was a weird experience. We were thinking like, oh, we're gonna meet girls. It's gonna be great. It was just like all old people. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely a lot of old people.
I feel like there are some.
I like them though. I like the ocean. I like to be on a boat.
Yeah. I do. I would like to travel more by boat. There's something like, get some time to write, get some time to... What, you don't like the boat? If I can encourage you, are you serious about Twitter Shabbat? I've always wanted to be in a plane crash. Yeah. In-group cruise.
In-group cruise would be so funny.
I will go. I will just commit to going.
I will so go. Absolutely. Oh my gosh. It would be so exciting. That would be the best.
We have to slowly start taking this in-group phrase like out of circulation, in my opinion. I find it cringy. It is useful. It is something the in-group uses. It is indicative. I find it cringy a little bit, but no hate on you, Mr. Critter. Obviously, it's sort of an adopted term, but I don't know. I have opinions.
It is hard to think of a different word. I do think that what I like about the term in-group is it's like you're saying the quiet part out loud a little bit. Like it's like Polly. Like there's limited time and attention. People are going to be excluded from your group of friends. Like you cannot have everybody in the group chat. It'll be a complete disaster. So it's like kind of nice to have a word where you can like admit that you're not inclusive of everybody in a playful way that everyone see as like not super serious or aggressive or anything like that.
Right.
It's like not very militant.
I agree with that, but I feel like it's like if we were to dig into this, not that we should, but if we were to dig into this, it's like what I think is like, it feels overcompensating. It's like, exclude people. Just exclude them. Just feel good about it. You have to do it a little bit. I don't know. I'm finicky about...
Like Rome cult. That's an interesting comparison.
Gang is good. Yeah.
It's funny because I don't find in-group cringy, but I definitely find Rome cult cringy.
Oh, really?
Don't tell anybody at Rome that I said this, but I'm so sorry. I feel I'm like winded by like the impact of like I have said the thing. Oh no. but there's something about like brand loyalty that I've always like bristled at. Like I don't know, it like reminds me of like boys who get mad about whether Xbox or PlayStation's better, and I'm just like, guys, capitalism cuffed you so hard. Like, this is embarrassing. But like, yeah, I'm so sorry.
Right.
I'm so sorry to the in-group members that love Rome Cult. I really
PlayStation is better, and PC, I guess, is best of all, is what I recently.
Oh yeah, that's why PC is never included in the dichotomy, because it would just like slay every time. It would break, for sure.
Right. It's interesting to hear you say that. I don't find the phrase. We got some nice water effects here. I'm liking this. This is pretty sick.
Pretty.
In fact, I think we're at
although the forest is like so dense that you know something terrible lives there.
Oh yeah, if you get lost in that forest, you just die. I think you're dead, or worse. Oh god, let's get a little altitude. What up, Zach? Welcome back. So, Impro Gang. I don't find the phrase Rome cult cringy. Like, I think it's kind of cute. I don't know, like the cult thing. I would never announce myself as part of it, except ironically, though. I think that I wouldn't, you know what I mean? So there is a little bit. But that's also, that said, I don't really use Rome.
Yeah, it is probably another reason that I avoid it, is because I feel like way less smart than anybody who actually like non-ironically uses that for themselves, and I'm like, I don't know how to do any of this stuff, and I don't want to like pretend I know things that I do not. I am just not tech savvy enough. My second brain is lumpy and oozing and dysfunctional like my first brain, and so it's like embarrassing to call myself part of that club.
Right. Yeah. It's also interesting because Connor's built an audience that is like kind of fucking huge, right? Like really fast too. Mm-hmm. What is he at, like 40? He has a lot of followers on Twitter, for example.
Yeah.
So,
and a lot of like growth. Like he's got a lot more followers than he did just like last summer or something like that, you know?
Right. And part of it for me though is the reason I mention is because it's like when you're scooping from the sea of all of humanity, you know what I mean, and you're trying to make something out of it, you're very constrained by what you find. And it's interesting because, like, you know, with the sort of corners of Twitter that are like, you know, that I find that I hang out with, I guess, it's a little bit narrower and smaller, and that's part of what makes it work, right? But if you find yourself suddenly with 50,000 followers, you just got to make something that works for that, you know?
I definitely, like, see people with big accounts, and I, like, don't know how they live their lives. Like, that's pretty crazy. I'm so filtered, and one of my biggest fears is that would, like, have to change if I had, you know, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times as many followers I had, even, much less like what Visa or Connor or something has.
You know,
it's like,
yeah,
scary.
So if I had 70,000 followers or whatever, what I would do is I would make myself little alts that had like 2,000 followers each, and I think you could do that by just retweeting it now and then. I think you'd build it up.
Yeah, and then you could still have this like other part of yourself.
Yeah.
And I do think that it's like if you ever ended up with some sort of bigger following, even if it like messed up your Twitter dynamic, it feels like wasteful not to like accept that platform when it's given to you and try to maybe do something creative with it. Even if it means relocating your like stream of consciousness shit posting to another alt. Like, yeah, because it just feels like for the bare like ability to be able to signal boost things that my friends do that are cool and important, like I would want to like keep the big account going, even if it wasn't really like suiting the needs that I originally made it for. So I like I like you guys so much. Yeah, real talk hours. I like you guys so much. You're like so cool, and the stuff you do just like brings me oodles of joy, especially when like we're not in a situation to be like doing. I used to do things like I'd go to like spoken word poetry every week and be amazed by what different people had in their perspectives and would offer there, and that was like the most life-giving thing. And not having that anymore, like if I didn't have you guys, I feel like I would just be like itchy from like not being exposed to the creativity of other people. And I need you guys in my life, and I want you to do well. I want to share like the joy that you give me with like the entire internet for sure.
Hell yeah. You heard it here first. Maybe likes us. Side note, so we happen to have just crossed the 3-hour threshold. I'm down to chill for longer because I got nothing fucking going on tonight. Or we can also be wrapping it up. We can be, if people want to ask more questions and shit, or whatever you want to do, with your schedule and sort of however you want to take it.
I'm not doing anything either, so I'm fine to stay for a little while. And I still feel like the conversation has momentum. Like we're going places.
Yeah.
I'm gonna miss you though, 𝕙𝕚𝕚𝕦𝕦𝕦𝕦𝕦𝕦𝕦 if you leave.
𝕙𝕚𝕚𝕦, thank you for getting on the show when you got work. It helps me think that I've got an edge on capitalism. You know what I mean? Like I get a little eyeballs. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh. Who's in chat? Who do we got in chat? We got Holy Weather.
This is really pretty too.
Yeah, this is nice. Flight Simulator's a weird game.
Yeah.
It's just a simulator.
Yeah, it's like it's beautiful in its simplicity.
Yeah. I'm impressed y'all are still at it after I ate dinner and watched 2 episodes of Fargo. Oh, we ate dinner and watched 2 episodes of Fargo too, actually. You just weren't here for it.
Really?
No, me and you did.
That's fun. Goes really good.
I actually haven't seen. That's a show, right? I've seen the movie. Actually, is the show good?
Yeah, I've seen both, and they're both good. Both kind of same vibes. And I feel like there's lots of other movies that I've liked that have that same vibe, like Burn After Reading, like something about like absurd dramedy. That's the genre.
I actually just watched Burn After Reading. I liked it. I was into it.
I liked it too. I thought it was really fun.
Yeah, I watched it because I did a thread like recommend me comedies, and I paid. The second person never followed up with their Venmo, but I'm like, I was like, I'll give you, I don't know, it was $10 or $15 if you recommend me one that I like of the stupid comedy genre. I love doing stuff like this because I love using money for useful things because it's so easy to not do that. And I got so many recommendations. Then Tyler shows up. Tyler ℙ𝕙𝕚𝕚. Do you know Tyler ℙ𝕙𝕚𝕚? Have you met him?
Yeah, I know him a little bit from. We've both like been at the Stoa a little bit, so
okay.
I think I met him.
So I can roast him because I know him pretty well and for many years. And so Tyler goes. So I very specifically say stupid comedy genre. Okay, so I'm like stupid movies, like real dumb. Like I'm thinking like Will Ferrell, like Adam Sandler, like the dumbest shit. He goes Burn After Reading, right? So I'm like, okay, cool, I'll check it out. I watched the movie. This is not a stupid comedy. It's like a clever comedy. It's like an interesting, smart comedy.
It kind of is, yeah.
It's a little stupid, but it's not truly dumb. And I fucking watched this thing and I commented. I was like, dude, this wasn't a stupid comedy. And he's like, oh yeah, sorry, I didn't read it that carefully. And this fucking guy, I don't know. There's something to me that's like very Tyler about that. This guy just fucking. He like kind of saw it. And he's like, "Oh, comedy, Burn After Reading." And then I spent 2.5 hours watching the fucking thing, and he's like, "Oh, sorry, I didn't actually like read what you said." Anyway.
Report back.
So that's just my.
I'm just bitching. Like getting recommendations from the Twitterverse is like one of the biggest perks of like not only being in the Twitterverse, but like like there's few reasons to try to have more followers, but to like have like 1,000 followers or something, you really notice that like people start actually answering you when you ask like random questions like what should I watch on TV, and that's very satisfying.
Yeah, somebody asked you something. Where did it go? We missed some question that was related to this. Oh, why do you want more followers? Was one of the questions. And that is one answer to that.
Yeah, I think having the collective intelligence is good. I think like there's also something about like when you have more followers, then I think there's like, this is really unfortunate to talk about, and I hear people say all the time that you're not supposed to reveal how much you understand about social dynamics, and by revealing how much I understand about social dynamics, I reveal that I don't understand whichever part has to do with that rule. But I definitely see online that like the people who have between like 1,000 and 5,000 followers are like much quicker to become like regular conversational partners with other people in that kind of area. Like,
that's totally true.
So like as much as it is for like your own ego, it's like a signal that like you're cool and you're worth talking to, and you're not somebody that just gets repeatedly insta-blocked by people trying to have conversations. Like there's just like a sort of social competence that it kind of like seems to subconsciously like read as to other people.
Yeah, that's interesting. I feel like it's been a whole experience of like sort of my idealism about social stuff running into the reality of social stuff. There's been a lot of that for Twitter. Like specifically, I do notice myself paying a little bit more attention if they've got like followers in my range versus especially if it's 20 or something. But even if it's like a couple hundred, and I sort of feel like a douchebag, like there's still this part of me, like I think I understand why I do it and why it makes sense to do. There's still this part of me that's like, no, you should just like care about the content or whatever. But it's like, I don't know, it is a signal about who it is you're interacting with.
Yeah. I think another part of it that like I know is true about myself and is not at all an endorsement of it is that I was not popular in school. Never. Not one time. So like there is like a redemption arc for the little girl that lives within me that's like, people like me now. Yes.
Fucking roast them.
This is blurst.
Roast them. Get popular.
Yeah, because it does feel like it's fun to realize that there's like so many parts of being a loser that are circumstantial and not inherent to a person's personality, and that like I also think I never moved around much as a kid. So like I was not cool, and then we never moved, so I went to the local elementary and the local middle school and the local high school, and it was all the same people, and they all knew that I was a loser, and I never got a fresh start where I could be like, no, I'm funny and pretty and you'll like me, I promise. I was just always like the nerdy kid that got singled out for beating you on the French exam, and nobody likes that kid, and I didn't choose to be that kid. That was imposed on me. And so now it's nice that I can be popular among the other gifted burnouts on Twitter.
Right. Is the French exam more competitive in Canada? I have to ask.
Well, I mean, like, we do have to take French.
Right.
So it is like, it's like saying I'm better at the math exam. It's like something everybody had to take. So that's something. But it was genuinely embarrassing. I can't believe that adults didn't do something different with the situation. But I used to like, they would do exercises in French class, and in front of everybody, I would be given some sort of like time penalty of like, you're not allowed to give an answer until you've really given everybody in the class a chance to try to answer the question. And I'm like, okay, why?
They throttled you.
Yeah, they muzzled me. They
Oh
were
my
like,
God.
"You're too powerful. We have to nerf you." And I was like, "It's embarrassing to get nerfed." I wonder if video game characters had feelings,
Yeah.
if they were very embarrassed about being nerfed. It seems like an embarrassing thing. From my experience, it's embarrassing to be nerfed.
I'd be mad if they nerfed me. Do you speak French?
Un petit peu.
I assume that means a
Very
little
small.
bit.
Yeah,
Nice.
not very much. I'm really rusty with it, and I didn't take it in university. I switched to Latin because I knew I was going into law school, and I was gonna have to know all that dumbass Latin nonsense.
So I like the classics. I'm big into like, I'm big into like Rome and Greece and shit. What happened?
Sorry. People are saying to nerf me in the chat, and I
Please
don't
nerf.
want to be nerfed.
Please nerf. Holy Weather
Moi
wants
aussi. Très bien.
tarot reading about the current astrological situation in French while singing. That's intense, man.
Trop difficile. Too hard. I don't know if I can do it. I actually don't even know much about the current astrological situation. Me and Magic, we got in a fight, and we're still cooling off because it was too right about things, and I was spooked. And then I was just like, I don't want to know the truth anymore. So I stopped looking into my soul, hid from myself while I was in law school all semester.
So
now maybe we can be friends again.
You kind of had a staring into the abyss experience, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah. It was I guess there's a way that it's just totally willing to reflect the truth of a situation. And I was asking it questions about how I was doing and where I was going and the choices I was making, and it gave me warnings, and I was like, I don't want to read the warnings. I want to think everything is going to go my way, and then things went exactly the way it said. I'm mad at you. I'm mad at you for warning me and then me not listening, and I'm mad at you for that. It's interesting to have a relationship with magic or the universe or God or whatever you want to call it, and have it feel like that personal relationship. It really feels like it's a friend that knew I was going to do something dumb, and it was look, where you're coming from, I know how you're feeling, and you can get this really good thing out of this, but know that eventually this is the price that you're gonna have to pay. And I'm I'm not gonna pay the price. And it's yeah, you are. I told you were. And then I did, and I'm oh, my friend is now in this place where they could tell me I told you so, and I'm not even gonna look at them. I'm I don't want to look at you because I told you so.
It's interesting. I actually do kind of relate to that. I had just a weird experience where, for me, it's weird to talk about spirituality because I spent many years among pretty hardcore atheistic rationality type people, super scientifically minded about everything, right? So I very much speak that language, and have sort of kept myself, stayed brushed up on how to speak that language. And then it's interesting because when I talk to people who are more comfortable with the sort of magical spiritual angle on things or religious angle on things, it's hard for me to drop it because I know I often don't need to do it, but it's a little bit hard. But just to skip all that preamble, I had this experience recently where I was doing some meditation, and I was trying to do, it occurred to me, I was I should do some compassion meditation, which is something I have never really done a lot of. I've done a million different types of meditative, introspective things. I haven't particularly done this one. And I tried to do it, and I couldn't do it. There was something that happened where it just wasn't happening. And it was weird because I was well, okay, I don't know. I guess it would be nice if I would be able to do this compassion meditation. And then a day later, I was having a conversation with a friend who told me some shit they were going through or whatever. I came home, and immediately something cracked. Something cracked open, something changed, and suddenly I was just I want to like beam love and hope into the world. Like I want to like lift everybody up. Like that shit was just coming out of me like a fucking waterfall. And it was just crazy. It was like clockwork. That it was like I had the problem a day later. I asked the question and then there it was. And you know, it's like people who don't believe in these kind of things will think they'll have some explanation like it's random or you're just seeing a pattern that's not there. But the pattern is there it is. So, you know, interesting question, like really where to go with the sort of interpretations and everything. But,
yeah, I totally feel the same way. And it is, it's kind of interesting. I did a session at the Stoa and it was funny. I was, talking about existential kink. It was supposed to be with the author, didn't come, so I had to do it by myself.
Okay.
And that was a really fun experience to like have not prepared anything and then have like planned to do an interview and then the interviewee doesn't show up, so it's just me and me covering the whole landscape there.
Well, it's just you Malty, and your clown and anyone else who decides to show up.
Yeah. Just start juggling. No. But the idea in her book is that like your unconscious wants are always fulfilled. Like what you really want, you're getting. And so you can look at what you have as evidence of what you want in the world. And that it's like a radical magical perspective, and it's like easy to like take it and end up in some twisted places if you're not like really clear on your intention to use this kind of lens for spiritual growth and becoming a better person.
Right.
But I like I'm never more frustrated with myself than I am when I know that I've asked for the thing that will hurt me. Because I do it all the time. I really do. I'm like, oh, you know, even sometimes I see something coming and I'm like, oh, this is how I want to feel about it. And I like get ready and I maybe even do rituals if it's really important to me. And I'm like visualizing. I'm like, okay, I'm going to feel really good. I'm going to feel really good in this situation. I'm going to have a lot of strength. I'm going to have a lot of courage. I'm going to be really compassionate. I'm going to be a loving adult. And then the thing happens. And in the moment, I'm like, I want to crumple. I want to fold in on myself. I want to be broken. I want to not have what I need in this situation. And then that's what I get. And it's so bizarre to like have a lens with which you can see yourself in such clarity that you can watch yourself doing something so absurd and so unthinkable to your conscious mind. But there is like this weird magnetic feeling around, like I said, I was rejected a lot growing up and that's what's normal to me. And it's like, I have no experience really being like loved and accepted and involved in a community. And so sometimes when I get a little bit out of my comfort zone, I'm like, you know what would be really comforting is to feel like shit. And like, that's crazy. That's crazy that that's how it would feel. But it does come up for me, and as I'm saying this, there's like the thing coming up for me is like my most recent tattoo that I got is an eagle, because I had a conversation with Visa once, and he said that I'd asked a question about basically how to be more normal, right? And he said it was like a chicken or an eagle asking for lessons about being a chicken, and it's like, you're not a chicken. Be an eagle. That's what you are. You're like this bigger, more powerful thing. Just let yourself be that. You don't have to be something smaller and feebler and more consumable. Right. And it's so hit like exactly where my question was coming from. It was like, sometimes I get into this place where I trust myself, but I've never really done that before. And I'm like feeling like I have some sort of social belonging that's like there to be lost for the first time in my life. And I can sometimes get that little clingy feeling of like, oh please, don't stop liking me. And then I have to like get all, I don't know, like defensively self-critical and pile all of these negative vibes on myself just to make sure maybe that I'll survive if I'm not approved of, or 100 other things that come from this past of thinking it's normal not to have a lot of like warm social support in your life. And so it's like I kind of like feel like that's a lot of what went into like taking a step back from magic, is like realizing that I wasn't ready to be an eagle in my magical practice, and the magical practice doesn't really know how to tone itself down or pull punches. It just tells you the truth, and if you're not ready for the truth, you should put down the tarot deck, which is like a feeling that I have had in retrospect many times, and I've done readings for friends and had that look on their face like, oh no. And I'm like, oh, it's true, and you weren't ready, and you thought you were, which is why you asked. Oh no. It's a powerful emotional like experience, and it can go either way.
Well, there's a lot of interesting in what you said. Yeah, I mean, the imp of the perverse is a phrase that comes to mind, and it refers to that sort of like just the desire to, when there's no particular reason to, just do the wrong thing. It's like when everything's lined up to just do everything right, to instead just do something wrong.
Yeah.
And you get a different view of humanity.
Often something important.
You what?
Yeah. It's often something important too. Like it's doing something wrong, or it really matters to me to do it right.
Right.
Like that's when the imp is like, no, you better fuck this one up.
Right. ℙ𝕙𝕚𝕚𝕦𝕝𝕝 says, I think that comes from a desire to exercise autonomy. That's interesting. That's an interesting take. I have not heard that take before.
One thing that I've thought about it is like in tarot spreads, there's a spot that it's been taught to me is that it's the spot that shows your hopes and your fears. So one card, but it stands for your hopes and your fears. And that really taught me that like hope and fear are linked. And so the more hopeful you are about something, the more fearful you are about whatever is the opposition of that. And so I think that there's like, sometimes when I hope for something really, really highly, I'm so afraid of it that by failing, it like resolves the tension with certainty. It's like, if I just fail, I don't have to be afraid of it anymore. I don't have to be afraid of the uncertainty. It'll just be like, I failed, and I can just deal with the consequences and not have to deal with the apprehension and the anxiety or something anymore. And so like I've often been like, yeah, like a big assignment that I have to hand in and I don't know if I'm going to do well on, I like don't show up. I don't hand it in. There you go. Right. 0. Now you know you failed, and then I just am with the failure, which is less uncomfortable than the uncertainty.
So I seem to have crashed our plane, by the way, speaking of self. It suddenly wouldn't go up.
It's beautiful though.
It is cool. We are in a cool spot.
It does look awesome.
Yeah, what's the what altitude? We're like at 650 feet or something. I do seem to have crashed the plane, and I swear that was not on purpose. There's some way to hack this to get me up in the air, but I don't know. So you can teleport. Teleport window. All right, I just teleported us somewhere. See if that. What the hell is going? All right. Well, I've successfully gotten this book to game. Oh god. Uh-oh. Are you seeing this? Where'd the moon go?
Might be in a few seconds. Here. Oh, okay.
We're having a wild time. Oh boy.
Name of the Wind has, or well, sorry, the Wise Man's Fear has a couple of different stories about where the moon's gone. I thought that was such a pretty motif. Like having like writing in your book like a little myth about the lunar cycle.
Yeah.
It's like so fun. I thought that was so pretty.
Do you know much about Patrick Rothfuss, the guy?
No, I don't know a ton about him.
Just I know a little bit, because basically when I was whatever. We're just gonna chill here with the moon. I think that's what we're gonna do.
Oh, nice. I love it.
So let's get to a better vantage point because I don't even know what's happening here. Maybe it's some water. Hopefully, no one feels car sick. I used to read his blog before he was really popular.
No way, hey?
Yeah. And he, there we go. We're on a mountainside. And it was interesting to watch him, like, become popular.
Yeah, like watching him grow up.
Yeah. And it was also part of that, though, was him at a certain point getting stressed that everyone was pressuring him about book 3 and then him getting, like, pissed and just being like, fuck all you, I'm never answering a question about this again or whatever, which is, like, how he is now.
Right.
But he wrote the trilogy, some really old version, that is probably not, like, ready for publication, but, like, some complete version of the trilogy was written. He called it The Song of Wind and Flame, and he was trying to publish it. But that was after, like, 9 years of him being in school in, like, Madison, Wisconsin. And he spent, like, those, like, literally, like, 9 years. I think, who's that? You might remember more than me because it's been a while since I read it. Who's the character who's, like, the older guy that hangs out with them in the friend group? Who's, like, always been in the school?
Oh. Manet.
Yeah, Manet. I don't know if he confirmed that, but some people have speculated that that's a self-insert for Patrick Rothfuss. Right? And he basically, like, spent this whole time just, like, he wrote a local newsletter, was a big thing, like a campus newsletter, and he just, like, took chemistry and took fucking history, and he took mythology courses and stuff like that, and you can just see all of that in the book, especially, like, the school as being, like, a major location, so that's the bit I had to add.
Definitely. Yeah, that's really cute. I love the idea that he, like, has a fictional cameo going on.
Yeah. All right.
Like the idea of, like, seeing yourself as a side character too.
Yeah.
I kind of relate to that. I always found that my favorite characters growing up weren't the main character, usually.
Oh, interesting.
I really love Quoth, though. It's hard not to love him.
No, Quoth's the baller.
Yeah.
Quoth's the baller. I especially related because just the idea of, like, the autodidacticism thing, just, like, being able to learn anything and, like, learn it fast and be amazing at it is so appealing to me. Like, I want that power. So that was always, like, part of how I stuck that in my head.
Yeah, that's so awesome. I just find something about there's something really, like, wholehearted about it. I can't put my finger on what it is. I think maybe there's something to me about the fact that the whole, like, arc starts from this place of like rare, like, joy and love and freedom, and I guess, like, that's something that, like, the Lord of the Rings, like, in The Hobbit, has sort of the same feeling. Like, the story, like, grows to epic proportions and, like, encompasses, like, devastating tragedies, but it starts in this place that really captures a feeling of home. And it's, like, a feeling of home that most of us don't even really have. Like, it's a feeling of home that is like idealized, like the little hobbit hole or being part of the ℙ𝕙𝕚. It just feels like it's like something really, really beautiful, and it's, like, worth losing as part of the story.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's well put. That reminds me, there's some line of, I think it's Vonnegut or something, says you have to make characters that people really, really love and then do terrible things to them.
Yeah. And it would be so hard. It sounds hard, like it sounds hard for me to have children. Like I struggle so much getting tangled up in my own attachments and my own ego, and the idea of like having a child and putting it out there into the world. I was just like, oh, the emotional intensity of that. It like, I quake in my boots. But that art gives me the same feeling in a lot of ways. Definitely to do creative writing feels like one of the most vulnerable, like emotional challenges that you can take on.
Yeah. Chevron said, oh, cool. Lin-Manuel Miranda says the song "The Story of Tonight" from Hamilton was inspired by the energy of Kvothe and his buddies walking home from the Aeolian. That's cool.
I love that.
Patrick
Those are
Rothfuss
some of my favorite scenes.
he loves Lin-Manuel Miranda. He talks about him all the time.
Oh, fun.
Yeah. He also loves Joss Whedon.
Mutual love.
Yeah, mutual love.
They're
That's
mutuals.
Fun.
I can
They're
kind of
mutuals
see
IRL.
some similar vibes. They're IRL mutuals. That's
Right.
fucking great.
Yeah. All right, maybe. Unless there's anything else you wanted to cover, why don't we start wrapping this guy up? Given that I did already crash the plane, and the game is hanging up. It's sort of being real slow now, but you know, I feel like we covered a lot of topics, and this was super fun. I would definitely have you on again at some point. And
yes, I'd love to be a regular.
For sure.
I need this for my wanderlust.
Totally. Lin-Manuel Miranda's working with him to produce the TV show. See, look, my plane's about to crash. I have no idea what's going on. I think I've lost. There's something about this plane. Well, anyway, it takes us on adventures every time. I'm literally pulling back on the joystick, trying to pull up. It's not going up. We're going into the water.
It's more fun to fail. Like I said, it's like it's like a gift when you're out here clowning.
That's right. Sometimes the universe clowns you.
Yes, we're getting clowned on by Flight Simulator.
Yeah. Yeah. There we go. We're in the water. We've made it.
Beautiful.
We've made it. We're going to call this our
like
destination.
A rebirth. Okay.
That's right.
I feel at home.
This is the birth canal of many great things to come, maybe.
Awesome. Yay.
So, all right. Thanks to everybody and everyone who hung on, damn it, till now, has been hanging on, showing up, asking questions and shit. And I'm gonna end the stream, but this has been great, and we'll be back next week. I believe we're gonna have Eigenrobot next week, so that's very hype.
Fun.
Maybe I hope you will be back as well. If you in the audience to help shoot the shit,
Oh yeah.
I need you there.
Yeah, I gotta see Robot for sure.
All right, cool.
All right, I'll let you go. Thanks so much for having me. See you later.
All right, bye everybody.